So we tried to record this last week, and disaster struck. We spent about 45
An
minutes
hour and a half.
trying to troubleshoot. Was it an hour and a half? We started at like 6:30.
It was.
It was,
we-
yeah.
It was because you and I jumped on earlier, and then we didn't stop and gave up until like 7:30, 7:45 or something like that.
See, it really stuck with them how long it was, because that's how frustrated it was. I had mic issues. We did record a... We sound good, and we did record at JoJo's the other day. That'll go up soon. Bradley
Probably is already up.
Actually, I put a message in general later that you should check up on. But anyways, we're here today. We're very excited because there's a bunch of like really cool topics that I think we're all kind of itching to talk about. We've been holding some thoughts and gushing about many topics. So without much ado, who's going first?
I'll go first.
Go.
Because I have nothing. Really. So I went and saw, as for our pit stops here, for my cousin's birthday, his 32nd birthday, we went and saw Revenge of the Sith, the 20th anniversary in theaters, which was kind of neat. A little bit very nostalgic for the both of us because we both saw it in theaters, I think, with each other when we were very young back in 2005. And it was just kind of very nostalgic. It was the first time like ever where like, oh, I feel like I'm watching childhood again. Like actually, like being in a theater watching this movie.
An interesting question was posted the other day on our Discord of like, what's one of the earliest memories you can remember? And like, while Revenge of the Sith is not that early, like it's a very prominent memory of my childhood going to watch it. It was a really big deal for me. And I don't even like Star Wars like that.
Yeah, there was a nice little like forward by Hayden Christensen who plays Anakin in that movie. That was like just kind of a little bit sweet. And also, I turned to dust the other day at my lunch table that I sit at because like we were talking about people there, and one of the guys at the table was like, "Oh man, Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie." Blah blah. I never got to watch it in theaters as a kid because I was just too young, and I just fucking wanted to like shrivel up and die from that sentence.
What year did it come out in originally? This is
2005.
Yeah, no, I mean, people born in the year 2000 exist. No later. Later. No people born in 2010 exist, at least. We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, thank God. They don't exist.
Don't tell me about them.
Yeah, but, like, there's nothing really to say about it right now. But, like, yeah, it was just very nostalgic to go and see that movie and kind of have a big drink and eat popcorn.
Where does it fall in your ranking of Star Wars?
So I have a line called the Revenge of the Sith line. It is, you are considered a decent movie if you can beat this line. So it straddles the line of like good movie and shit movie. So, and that's more on the bottom than it is in the middle of that kind of tier list. And there's a few gaps every once in a while.
Yeah, but that Duel of Fate starts playing as we were talking about.
Yeah, it's that fight at the end starts going, and you're like, ah, man, this is all I wanted. It's just, overall, just a disappointing finale. Not disappointing, but like, retrospectively disappointing what could have been. But also, I read a comic called The Immortal Hulk. To give a brief rundown of this, basically, is, previous to the start of this run, Bruce Banner was killed by Hawkeye from an arrow that he gave him and told him, like, hey, if you think I'm about to do something bad, go ahead and kill me. And so Bruce Banner had been dead for like a year or two, presumably, but this starts out with him kind of re-emerging and people learning and whispering about him coming back to life and like wondering like what the hell's going on. And so it really gets back into the roots of like the Incredible Hulk, of like Bruce Banner struggling with this demon inside of him and trying to figure out what he's supposed to do with this. Because like everywhere he goes now, he sees the Hulk in the mirror, and the Hulk has essentially like stolen Bruce's like intuition and like moral compass. It essentially is like Bruce can't necessarily determine what's good or evil and has to rely on where the Hulk is pointing him to go. So he has to like wrestle with that and kind of understand like what does this mean between him and the Hulk and the relationship with his other personalities as well. This is a really good series. It really brings back that like original theme of the Hulk and anger, and also like just kind of like what it means like when your life is just stripped away and torn away from you. Also like I don't know why the movies don't dive more into Bruce's backstory because it's like really good. Do y'all know what the actual like his backstory is?
Gamma radiation and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yes and no. So Bruce was born like hyped, super intelligent. Like at 2 or 3 years old, he was like building giant ass Lego kits, and his father fucking hated him for it. Like would beat the shit out of him, and like was just afraid that he was gonna get overshadowed by his son in the future. His dad eventually kills his mom in a quote unquote freak accident, and then Bruce later in life kills his dad in a quote unquote freak accident.
His fucking dad felt threatened by a 3-year-old being smarter than him.
Yep. But it's like it's really well done, I think, and it feeds a lot into like the themes of the story and like the cycle of violence and everything like that. It still has a bunch of comic bullshit,
of course,
in it, I would say. But otherwise, I really enjoyed the story. It has some phenomenal art and body horror. Like the Hulk, like is actually just a complete monster in this, and is like seems like a horrifying thing to like undergo and deal with. Riley, I think you would really like the series a lot, actually. So I recommend it to you. It's a 50-issue run, so which is a pretty meaty run in comics. But yeah, I very much recommend it.
I wasn't sure what like an average run length is for American comics.
It's usually 24 because it's about 2 years of the writer writing on the character essentially, and they rotate their stories. So 2-year run is like generally the average of like of an average run of the person in the comic. So 50 is like 4 years basically, and so it's pretty good. And as well as like some other spin-offs that the Immortal Hulk is in, because that is a technically different character. But that's all I got for quickies.
Sweet.
Or pit stops. We don't have those anymore.
Quick stops, whatever. Yeah, just very interesting in the concept of like morally being guided by the embodiment of anger, and I'm sure that like plays out in interesting ways.
It does, in very, very violent ways too.
That's
I think
very interesting
dichotomy,
issue, right? Yeah.
Yeah. In the second issue, Hulk literally like takes the man and like tears him limb from limb and then buries him in the earth alive.
How morally just.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
I have done nothing wrong.
I'll jump on from here. I got like a little fighting game mini block, and then a introduction to a game I'm currently playing, but not a full discussion. So, a little while ago, a game called Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves came out. Joe might have seen a little bit about this game because he's brushing up on the FGC a little bit. Actually, you played the beta. Yeah. This is a really interesting and good fighting game. It's got a lot of good mechanics, and it's taking a lot of inspiration from Street Fighter 6 in the sense of like your meter in this game starts full, or rather it kind of starts empty, but as a rev gauge where every time you do like a special move that's powered up, the rev gauge goes up, and once it goes all the way up, you overheat, and then as you block, the meter goes up a little bit, but as you do damage, it starts going down. So it's just the inverse of the Street Fighter 6 drive meter. It's like the exact same thing in functionality, and when you're burnt out, you lose a lot of options and stuff like that. Where this game differs more so is in its defensive options. It's got a couple more defensive options, and you can mix and match them to get like really stylish defenses.
What kind of defensive options?
So it's stuff like perfectly guarding an attack, for example, is called a Just Defend, and it knocks people away from you, it recharges your health ever so slightly, it makes your rev meter go back down a little bit, and more importantly, you can do it in the air, which is a really big deal because there is no air blocking in this or Street Fighter, but you can kind of make them have to guess anti-airing when you jump on them by being like, oh shit, what if he just defends it in the air, which is kind of like a weird thing with this game. It's got like stuff called hyper defense for like you go from a normal block to a perfectly timed forward input, which then lets you put a special to get out of pressure. It's got like a universal low and high evade. It's got brakes, so you can like do a special and break midway through, which opens up new combo options. So it's got like a lot of sauce in it. A lot of people are hailing it as like the hot new fighting game, and because it has Saudi Arabia money, it has the biggest prize pool of any professional circuit in a fighting game.
Ooh.
But the numbers of people playing the game is not very high, despite the fact that they did a lot of marketing with Cristiano Ronaldo, who is a playable character in the game.
What the fuck?
If you've seen anything about Cristiano Ronaldo being in a fighting game, it's this one. And he kind of sucks and looks awful. But then there's also this goofy DJ who is a genuine like big fan of the series. He is friends with Saudi Arabian royalty, which explains why he's in the game. But at least like he is passionate about it, and he was at EVO Japan like promoting it. So it's like a flirting versus harassment thing, and actually knowing Cristiano Ronaldo's past, harassment is an apt word. But anyways, but it's like a very sweaty, like hardcore fighting game where like everyone playing it, there's no newbies. They're really serious about playing it, and because the player base is so low, I am getting matched with people that are no shit 8 to 10 ranks above me. Like that's how far they have to stretch the matchmaking to get fast matchmaking. And
But low amount of players means that giant prize pool you were talking about is yours.
it's so achievable. It's not. I'm gonna be hard stuck B rank in this game because I just can't put enough time in. And like anytime I'm doing good, I will get into like no shit an 8-game streak where I'm playing people way above me. But like it's still really fun, especially when I am playing someone of my skill level and like I'm getting to learn a little bit more. The character I play is called Preacha. I posted her in prep room. She has some of the funniest win quotes where she's just like trying to one and done the opponent, where she's like, "I won this time, I'm out." Like no takesies backsies. Like just very bratty. She's very dumb, and you get to customize your character's colors. So that second picture I have of her are my custom like goth Preacher colors. But she's got like a really cool mix up play style.
Right.
Anyways. And yeah, very fun game, but like hard to sink time into, knowing that like the player base is low enough to where like in a month or two it might be really hard to get people of your own skill level. Like you might have to like really grind it out to learn anything. But a game that came out that actually has been stealing my time even more from this game. This game's been out for like a month. This game I'm going to talk about has been out for like 5 days, and I already have like a couple hours over City of the Wolves. Is the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. I bought this on a whim, mostly because I was curious about Power Stone, if y'all have ever heard of that franchise.
I remember you were telling us about it the other day, and I really like the art style of it.
Yeah, like, these games have really good art style. I feel like Power Stone's something Tyler would have heard of as a kid. It seems like a Tyler core
Never heard of it.
Okay, never mind.
But
Yeah,
you were telling us about the mechanics, and I got the same feeling you were telling us, where I was like, you know what, if they made a new one of these, I feel like it could kind of pop off.
it would go crazy, especially if like they tap into like battle royale modes. It's a 3D brawler, very simple movesets, a lot of focus on picking up items in the environment and dealing with environmental traps and hazards while you're fighting. Power Stone 1 is more 1v1, while Power Stone 2 is more of like a 4-player party game, so they both have their merits. That said, when I play ranked in the collection, I specifically play Power Stone 1 because so there's a collection of 8 games, and you can queue up into all the ranked games that you want simultaneously. So I can queue up for like 6 of the games, and whatever pops up, I play. Right? It's like really addicting to just keep going. The games in this collection are Capcom vs SNK 1 and 2, also known as CVS 1 and 2. The 2 Power Stones, Street Fighter 3 Alpha Upper. There's a lot of versions of old Street Fighter games. A really shitty game called Capcom Fighting Evolution. Everything I've mentioned basically is a crossover game except for Power Stone. And then 2 gems that I've fallen in love with called Plasma Sword and Rival Schools. I posted some clips of Rival Schools, most recently in the prep room. It's a 30-second and 15-second clip. I really need y'all to watch these as I talk
Like
about...
the one where, like, this person is using a volleyball as their method of attack. I actually loved it.
That is literally my main character. I love her so much. Her moves are very... Everyone in this game is like a exaggeration of a like school character. So there's the tennis player. There's Ronaldo, the soccer player. Actually, I think he has a name that's just legally distinct from Ronaldo. And then there's like the hoodlums and the gangsters from the school. And then the principal can throw hands and the school nurse. Like, the character designs are so good. This is the kind of game that I knew it existed, but I never paid attention to it before. Playing it in this collection, you ever play a piece of media that it's like, if I had grown into this as a child, it would have completely changed the course of my life. Like, I would have been obsessed with this game. And I can tell
I was born in the wrong era.
I just didn't pay attention to the right thing. Like, it was out when I knew about it. But yeah, like, I need to show you the character designs for this game and like the creativity. That did you see that one clip where, oh wait, did I not post it? I need to get one more clip from here that I thought was just ridiculous. I'll pick it up in a second. But the main attraction of the game is Capcom versus SNK 2. It is this giant game with a bunch of characters. I remember seeing it in the arcade because there's a really distinct visual style. Like, hold on. I wonder if I search for like a GIF of it, if the character select screen. Yeah, this character select screen just gets burned in your mind because of all like the diamond imagery. And look at all these fucking characters, dude.
Also, we got some goats in here.
Yeah.
I'm playing Zangief.
There's even, and so you're making teams of 3. And the coolest thing about this game is that it has 6 grooves. And each groove changes your system mechanics that you play. Each one's inspired by either a past Capcom or SNK game. SNK being the people who made like Fatal Fury and City of the Wolves, which I just talked about, right?
Okay, now look, while we're on this character select screen, in the bottom left, is that Ryu on there twice? Or
That's
did they just
evil Ryu, bro!
Okay, I was like...
There's actually 2 missing characters that are in the collection. They're boss characters that are unlocked, but they have really low health to compensate the fact that you can play as them. So like these grooves, right? Like they completely change like your defensive options, what you can do when you land on the ground, what you can do in the air, and like it completely changes what your meter looks like. And the way that you charge your meter is completely different for each groove. So you can like play this game and play Third Strike with like the forward tap parries that you have, or you can play like characters that have run animations, which are only in the SNK games. And you can like play these characters in these different grooves, and it's kind of insane how well this system works together. And it like the boomers were right. Like this is one of the greatest fighting games ever made, and probably my favorite fighting game of that era, beating out Third Strike and Darkstalkers 3, which is my other favorite. I think this collection is really worth picking up, Joe, because I know you like to fumble around with fighting games, and I play Cammy in this game, and she's really good. She's really good at CVS too, so you'd be eating well.
Fun story. I went to, what's it called? Cidercade here in Houston, and they have an SNK2 cabinet. And that's where I kind of learned about the game. I was like, oh, I want to play this more. And they could not find a place to play it.
Yeah, no. It was only in Fightcade before, which is where you play these games. But, like, this game breathes life into this collection. Because this is here, people will boot up the game to play this. But because they're playing this, they'll queue up for the other games. So by this existing, it's, like, making everyone play all the other games. So it's, like, this one tide is so big that it's rising all the ships together, so it's really cool.
The fact you can queue for multiple games at once is actually like a game changer.
They've been doing this for their collections. There's one with like a bunch of Darkstalkers games. It's just like those games aren't popular enough, so that collection's long dead. Like no one queues up for stuff. But because CVS2 exists here, like people might be playing Rival Schools and Power Stone for days to come. That's my fingers crossed. I'm trying to get as much out of this as possible before like maybe the player base dies down a little bit, as happens with like smaller fighting games. But like this game's incredible. I'm gonna skip out the talk on 100 Line. I just wanted to highlight how insane the artwork looks up there. I posted like, I'll just give the very quick premise. A bunch of school children are teleported into this school where they have to stay there for 100 days to fight for the fate of humanity in really addicting strategy combat. But then, like, occasionally you'll have big battles against the enemy invaders. They're like these weird creatures that kind of look humanoid but don't speak our language, so clearly this is sketchy and we're the bad guys. But after you beat them, you get to select one of your children to kill the enemy commander and absorb them, and they all have like unique kill animations that highlight their personalities. But I just like wanted to highlight for a little teaser like how hard the art direction goes in these kill screens. I have a lot to say about this game, but I still have way too much to go to play it, so maybe next time in the interest of us saving some time.
I was actually laughing because everything I've seen and heard about this game has only made me want to play it more, but I saw the picture you posted of that girl covered in blood doing the ahagao face, and I was like, oh crap, is this a Gooner game?
No. I mean, no, it's not. She's crazy. She's that self-insert character that constantly references Danganronpa. Like, her gimmick is as soon as they wake up on the school, they're like, is this a killing game? Are we gonna get to kill each other? Let's fucking go. And then, like, your commanding officer's like, no, like, we need you all alive. We need to fight the enemies. And she's just always trying to spin this into a Danganronpa-style killing game.
I was about to say, I saw the one picture of her, and I was like, I feel like they had to put her in because they know the Danganronpa fans are going to be playing this, and they're going to be mad if they don't have a character like this in there. So they had to put her in there.
There's a couple of crazies. Like, the writer for Danganronpa makes some of the worst characters ever imaginable, but they start growing on you sometimes. Like, some of these little shits, when you learn why they're so fucked up, it becomes really compelling.
There's ways to make it work.
There are ways to make it work, and he does it better in some games than others. He's doing it quite well in this one, but we'll see how this goes. This also is written by the guy who makes VLR 999 and the Somnium Files and stuff like that. And I can smell his twists. But the thing is, they're playing with me. They know that I've played their games, and they are explicitly using that against me. Bradley, there's one point in this game. Your characters usually live in a dome city called the Tokyo Residential Complex. But while they're at this school, they actually get to see the sky for the first time in their lives. And the main character looks up at the moon, and he goes, huh, is that the censored word? And I go, motherfucker, you know I played VLR and the importance of the moon in that game, if you remember, like, of like how that goes. And, like, they're obviously playing with me and the fact that I know their tricks. So I can't really guess where this game is going. Like, every 10 days, it completely changes what I think the trajectory is.
Oh, I like that.
But Bradley or Tyler, why don't you jump on?
I can go next.
Nope. Rock,
it's
paper,
all me.
scissors?
Nope.
Okay, you take it.
Nope, I get it. It's me. Because you got a lot. I've got very little, so we'll be able to. I watched Isle of Dogs. That's a good movie.
That's a
if you
great
haven't
movie.
Seen that.
Yeah. That's the only Wes Anderson movie I've watched.
Really?
Yes, I've been told many times that this is a character flaw of mine, and
you need to get yourself to the local Princeton movie theater and watch Grand Budapest.
Yeah.
Wes Anderson is like, he's like a genre.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw something the other day where Scarlett Johansson did 2 movies in the same year. She did a Marvel movie, and she charged them $5 million. And then she did a Wes Anderson movie, and she charged him $4,000 a week.
That's passion right there.
Yeah, and she was like, I think it was like working for Wes Anderson is extremely fun and very efficient because he has a good vision and he knows what he wants for every shot. So, like, they don't take a lot of time to build a lot of extra sets. The movies don't go insanely over budget because he's like, I want this, 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 and this. So, like, he'll build one of his shots, like his famous, like, square shots, you know? But then there's, like, genuinely nothing outside of that shot. Like, it's just, like, magic and props and everything. I'm like, yeah, that's crazy cool.
That is cool.
That
movie has a very keen sense of humor where, like, it's really dry and, like, the way the characters talk and, like, the pacing of the story, but, like, it's a really good vibe and really funny.
I have a fun. Yeah, I was about to say, fun fact. That's every single one of his movies.
Okay, at least I figured.
It's weird. It's like it's kind of like the antithesis of how you know you're watching a Quentin Tarantino film, with how, like, if you see somebody get shot in a movie and it looks like 4 bodies of blood are on the wall, you're like, yeah, that's a Quentin Tarantino movie. If you see someone looking directly into the camera and it's Bill Murray, it's probably a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
That's
Like, the odds are extremely high. He's in every one of them.
Nope, that's not true. He's not in Asteroid City.
I know. Wait, was he not in Asteroid City?
No, I think Tom Hanks took the role he would have had.
Oh yeah, okay. It's Tom Hanks, but like,
Yeah, I think
they're
Tom Hanks was also
interchangeable
really
with the quality.
Yeah, I think Tom Hanks was really good in that role too.
Oh, that movie was good. And then I watched.
That's my brain. Anyways, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. Asteroid City is great as well. I would say it's a little bit odd for me. I didn't enjoy it as much as like some of his other stuff, but good nonetheless. Kelly and I have been making our way through Crunchyroll's top 2024 animes / 2025 animes. So we rewatched like Solo Leveling. We made our way through. I don't even remember what else is on the list. Frieren. We got to rewatch Frieren. That's a good time. We're currently doing Delicious in Dungeon, but this one is Apothecary Diaries. This is a Willer Core anime.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I was told this anime is good. It's very fun. And I was like, it doesn't really seem like it would be a me show, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. So Apothecary Diaries. You know what? Hold on. I need to look this up because I don't even know how to describe the genre. Like, I don't know how to give you a synopsis of the thing,
Meanwhile, I heard Kelly back there. Kelly, come tell us what you think of Attack on Titan finale. She's been sitting on that.
You gotta schedule that.
Oh shit.
So set in a fictional country based on Imperial China, because everything they have like an asterisk at the beginning of every episode. They're like, the likenesses and descriptions of anybody is purely coincidental. This is not based off of anything in real life. Very South Park,
Mm-hmm.
So it follows a girl who works as an apothecary in a red light district, who gets sold to the Imperial Palace as an indentured servant. And then she kind of like becomes too smart for indentured servitude, and they find out, and she starts being like tasked with bigger responsibilities of like mysteries that are going on inside the palace. Like, are there secret assassinations going on? Are there actually secret assassinations going on? Is somebody trying like, there's no action though. It's all very much a lot of talking, a lot of conjecture, a lot of like mystery solving and ingredients. It's very slow paced, but the quality of the animation is nice. We did the dub, which this is one of the better dubs I've seen. This is actually a really good dub. So, that's what I also mean Willer Core Con. So it's got mystery, it's got good animation, and you can listen to it on the side.
How good is the mystery, do you think? That's important to me.
It's like slice of life mystery. Like, it's not JoJo's Part 4 heavy mystery. Everything is very...
When I hear slice of life mystery, I think of Steven Universe, where like the plot technically progresses, but the characters aren't like actively trying to solve the mystery every single episode.
That's a good call.
Yes. Yeah, actually, yeah. That's a very good way to describe it, Bradley. Good job. You also should watch this anime.
I did it.
Yeah, the main character is very endearing. She's like, she's like very dry and very sarcastic about everything. She's like, I got kidnapped and sold into slavery. Guess I'm gonna have to do this for the rest of my life now.
Hate when that happens, like, man.
Yeah, she's like, I hate when this happens. But yeah, it was an unexpected, very enjoyable show for the year. I rated it quite highly on my anime list. and the second season is currently airing already.
I gotta update my anime list.
Also, spoiler not spoiler, there is a quote unquote love interest, maybe. But the author hates writing about it. And she's like, no, this is not love interest. And her aunt has like written her and been like, why aren't they getting together? Make these characters love each other. And she's like, no, I don't want to make them do that.
The author's aunt? That's hilarious. That's
Yes,
so good.
yeah. I read that in an interview. So very lighthearted, very, very nice. That's all I have. That's all for my quick stops.
Yeah. Funny that you were like, oh, Bradley, I recommend this anime to you. As if we don't live in a Joe-only era. The year's 2025, we only consume Joe-approved media, and Bradley's gonna tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
I will, but before I do, it is time for DS Variety Hour.
Boop, 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 boop.
Me and Emmy, the more we have been playing these DS games, the more good games we remember exist for the DS. So we just keep getting more, and oh my god, I've been playing so much Mario Kart DS.
Ooh, that's a classic.
And which is really cool because I have to do it through my phone's mobile hotspot because my DS won't connect to my regular Wi-Fi, but you can still find matches online in Mario Kart DS in 2025.
That's insane. Unfortunately, that game is so broken. Like, do you stand a chance against those online players?
No. So, and I'll talk a little bit about why, because this game has a very infamous technique that is a love it or hate it type thing.
Yes.
But I think it's like 75% hate it from the community. Mario Kart DS, though, there's a lot of, like, there's so much cool stuff in this game. I forgot how many firsts this had in the series. This was the first game to have retro courses, which is crazy. You know, like, normally you go into a Mario Kart, you would just have all the Grand Prix. This is the first game where there's just a whole second row of all your favorite courses from the old games, which was kind of crazy back in the day, because now it's just, like, a normal thing in Mario Kart.
Yeah. I do know, like, in the Mario 64, they took some of the SNES stuff and updated it, but, like, they're very distinctly, like, Moo Moo.
Well, that's a retro course, then. And that's how they treat it now.
Yeah.
I guess this is the first one that had, like, retro cups instead of, like...
I think so. But, like,
individual
anything
courses.
that they brought over previously, they just basically just, like, renamed and rebranded. Like, it's not even the same course. But anyways.
They had, like, I think this one also introduced drafting, which is where, like, if you're at a similar speed to someone else and you're, like, coasting right behind their car, they'll, like, cut the wind resistance for you and you'll get a boost so you can pass them.
Drafting is peak, dude. I'm a big
It's
fan
really
of that.
cool. It's a very technical game, too, almost to a fault. So, I spent the first... I didn't really look much up about the meta of this game, or the cards, or the characters. I just kind of dived right in. And I spent my first few hours, obviously, trying to unlock Daisy. And after I did, I found out she is so bad. Now, the characters in this game, I don't think necessarily have stats outside of weight. But most of the stats come with a car. Like, these aren't like Mario Kart 8 where you, like, build a vehicle. Like, there are just straight up cars. They have their stats. And Daisy's, the like, 3 most important stats in the game, she has, like, bottom... I think she's just at the bottom, dude. I was about to say, like, what percent? No, I think she's just the worst. The most important stats in this game... obviously acceleration helps a lot, because especially compared to other Mario Karts, and I had this experience before I looked it up online. Oh my god, you get peppered with items in this. I got hit with 4 blue shells in one race, and I went online just to make sure someone else had complained about it, and I found another person on Reddit who was like, yeah, no, this game, the blue shells are obnoxious as fuck.
Yeah.
So you just coast in second.
I distinctly remember this game having, like, a really bad, like, item per second ratio. Like, there's a term that they use, but, like, it gets better as the games go on. But games like this one and the Wii one, I think, had, like, pretty aggressive.
So, like, you're getting fucked. So, like, acceleration to get back up is pretty nice. But the absolute 2 most important stats, period, number 1 is drift. The higher your drift stat is, the more sharp sharply you drift, like the more degrees per second you turn, and the lower it is, the less you turn. So like characters like Drybones who have almost a 0 in the drift stat, when you're drifting, you're still almost going in a straight line.
Wow.
It's just like your cart has turned sideways,
is...
which is very important for the most important technique in this game. There's also there's a hidden stat, which is mini turbo.
Yeah. That's
yeah, every car in the game has a different duration for their mini turbo. Like Bowser's cars, their mini turbo lasts like 0.2 seconds. Drybones, his best car, your mini turbo lasts like 1.3 full seconds. And so the controversial technique in this game is called snaking, where with some characters like Drybones, Toad, I think one of the cars on Luigi, it is possible to drift and mini turbo right and left and right and left. You can constantly mini turbo, still moving in a mostly straight line. And if your mini turbo stat is high enough, you can permanently be moving at like mushroom speeds, which is what speedrunners do. And if you play online, that's what people do.
So with Drybone like not having a good turn radius, like maybe he's not good at mini turboing during turns, but he can probably do it on straightaways like no other character can, huh?
He can, but there's also more advanced techniques where like if you just tap the R button, your character will do a little hop, which helps people do things like, I don't know, maybe you can avoid that banana, maybe there's a shortcut you can only do if you hit a boost and hop over a short wall, but these hops, you can also just hop once or twice, and I think you turn more abruptly while you're midair during that hop, so you can readjust yourself. So even characters like Drybones, who don't have this sharp turn radius, can like reorient themselves. I watched this like several hour video on the history of speedrunning this game, and the amount of times people have discovered new techs that just completely blew all the old records out of the water is kind of crazy, and it still kind of happens. So,
dude, Mario Kart long videos are so good for background listening.
It makes you realize like how much really goes on in these games that you don't think about as a casual. I'm trying to think what else is cool about this game. I feel like this is the first Mario Kart that like really had some pulls on their cast, because like the first few Mario Karts, it's just like all the characters you would expect. The Mario Kart right before this one was Double Dash, which like I think that one started bringing in like Waluigi and stuff like that, but even then, like we've seen them in Mario Tennis, like we kind of expected them to be here. But then Mario Kart DS is when you start getting characters like Rob and Drybones, which I feel like after this entry is when like they really, really started expanding the roster.
Now that World has the best roster so far, there's so many stupid picks, which is
the thing. The whole time I was playing this game, I was like, oh my god, this is getting me in the mood for this new Mario Kart. And then I was like, well, I might just have to keep playing this Mario Kart. I might not be getting a Switch too. So,
well,
I don't know.
Update on that, right? You were blessed by Nintendo?
I got my email from Nintendo that told me I am in the queue because I qualify the requirements, and they told me to be looking out for an email from a specific address. So...
Dude, how am I not on the requirements? I've put some money into that store. It's probably because I never checked the news app, and you have. Like, that is the secret prerequisite.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't buy at least one thing a day through the Nintendo Switch Online app for your Splatoon character, you're screwed.
I mean, I got mine anyway, so joke's on them. I get to give up my money anyways. Idiots.
I love all the new original courses in Mario Kart DS except one. I've been playing this game like a motherfucker, and for almost every course I can reliably beat the CPUs and get first place, but the course DK Pass... it takes everything I have to, like, get above 6th place. I don't know what it is about that course. I just can't do it.
Bad matchup.
Bad matchup.
Yeah.
But Mario Kart
Skill
DS,
issue.
very fun. Everybody buy it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's thriving. Now's the time.
Actually, yeah. I love Mario Kart DS. That also has bittersweet memories for me, that game. But that's a really great game.
I've been trying to look for...
It has download?
It has download play, so I've been trying to look for people who have DSs, and I'm like, oh man, we could set up like some download play, which also, I was talking about the car stats earlier, so there's a character you can only play during DS download play. They're not on the character selection screen, which is Shy Guy. And Shy Guy comes with a car. You don't get to choose it, but his car just so happens to be on par with the best cars in the game as far as like the mini turbo and drift stat.
Wow, they knew, huh?
Download play is really not that bad.
That's cool. Do you get access to all the tracks? I remember it being limited.
Yeah, I think you do, if I remember.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I think like the person who has the cartridge gets to choose all those options.
That's fine.
Yeah,
like-
they're like the host.
Yeah, but everyone else is Shy Guys if they're download playing.
Gotcha.
In other DS news, and this one I have a lot less to say about. I was hankering for some Lego Star Wars because I used to play the Lego games just all the time when I was little.
As an adult too, you played like the Switch one.
Oh
Right?
my god, yeah. I played Lego Incredibles was fun. Lego Marvel Superheroes was fun. Lego Star Wars. So there's like 2 different Lego Star Wars games for DS, and I'm glad I did my research before buying. So I have Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga for the DS. Before they came out with that, like a lot of different studios at the time, whenever they wanted a DS port of their already existing Lego Star Wars game, they just kind of outsourced it to a way smaller studio, who just kind of did a shitty job. It did not feel very one-to-one, and people really hated it. So the version I bought is it feels like very close to the original. So it feels like those games on DS. I think the only real limitation is they weren't able to fit in the entirety of each of the levels. So like they don't have like as much fun secret areas. Like you're not gonna find a secret movie theater inside Mos Eisley or anything. Which I used to love that room. But what's more important about this is while I was playing this game, I've been going through a bunch of Joe media lately with Silent Hill, and I started The Expanse and all this stuff. And so while I was playing this, I was like, you know, what if Joe was right and Star Wars was good all along? Because I've never been a big Star Wars boy. The first time I tried watching one was before The Force Awakens came out, because I'm like, okay, well, if I'm gonna watch this, I need to be caught up. And I remember watching the movies at the time, and I was like maybe 18, and I was like, I don't know, dude. I didn't like them that much. But I was like, you know what? It's been about a decade. I'm more media literate now. I'm gonna try it out, and I'm really enjoying the Star Wars movies this time around. And I'm glad I mentioned it to Joe when I started watching them, because I'm doing what is called the machete cut. And I'm taking a lot of notes, so I think we might just make that we might just have a Star Wars cast and do like its own thing. I think there's a lot to say about this franchise.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
be looking out for that.
I'm getting live reactions from Bradley, and it's very fun.
Oh yeah.
Bradley also mentioned the other day, right before JoJo's cast, he was just like, Joe, I was going to watch episode 1 and 2 as a double feature, but I literally spent 4 hours on Phantom Menace because I was just taking notes the entire time.
That sounds peak.
I have a lot to say about that.
I might, as a non-Star Wars guy, I'm curious to sit in on that cast anyways, because that sounds really funny and fun.
When you finish the series, Bradley, or at least like up until Return of the Jedi, there is a famous YouTube series called Red Letter Media's Mr. Plinkett Reviews the Star Wars prequels. It's a very good breakdown of like how those movies fail as movies, essentially.
That's the thing, like, as I've been watching these, I was like, I'm taking all these notes, but I was like, I guarantee there are no thoughts I have in here that haven't already been had over the past 30 to 40 years.
I don't want you to watch it now, because I want you to get through everything, and then, like,
have your own thoughts.
We talk and you... Yeah.
But yeah, just
because
as a
they can definitely sway, but yeah.
Just as a preview for what I have to say about Phantom Menace, I watched doing the machete cut. I watched episode 4 and 5. I actually really loved them this time around. And then from outside the Star Wars fan base looking in, a part of you always wonders, are the prequels really that bad, or do people just have nostalgia? Oh my god, like the writing quality, it's an astronomical drop. I can't believe it. Like, I have so much shit I want to make fun of, but that'll come for
Oh, that
time.
sounds peak. Are you going to do the sequel trilogy and any extended stuff? Okay.
So here's the, like, I told y'all, the first time I ever watched these movies was back when The Force Awakens came out, and I watched The Force Awakens, and I remember kind of liking it. I remember watching episode 8 and hating it so bad. I just don't think I don't think I touched anything Star Wars related until now.
Bradley,
after that.
can you watch 7 and 8 and not 9 because there's no redeeming qualities? But like, I really think with your current mindset, I'm so curious to see where you'd fall on episode 8 because me and Joe like episode 8. Which is, Joe is not really allowed to say that because he will be shunned from a community that he loves. But I can say it because fuck you all.
I mentioned it in our Star Wars TCG night, and I got a lot of looks.
Oh my god! Oh, it's live too.
That's funny.
They can't even like contain it in IRL. That's how fucked it is.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be worth it to check those out.
That's like when I was playing One Piece one time, and I was like, "Well, Hody Jones actually a really good character," and everyone was like, "What?"
Yeah.
But yeah, be looking out for Star Wars talks, and then my only other real thing I've been doing for Pitstops is I've been doing my Joe homework, which is playing Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
And I remember what I told you is that like. I feel like 90% of the screams I've had in this game have been in my most recent 2 hours of it. It ramps up hard. Oh my god. Right now, I've basically just got to the Historical Society, which like I don't get the feeling it's the last area, but maybe like the penultimate area or something.
Historical Society.
But we did we got through the hospital, which was crazy. This game's kind of structured fun where you get to go through you get to go through your scary. It's like divided into worlds where like apartments are a world, hospitals a world, this is a world, and you're getting to do like all your gameplay, your fun scary encounters, and then your kind of reward for beating a world is you kind of get like maybe 30 minutes to an hour of cutscenes, and when it happens, these cutscenes are so fucking good, man. There's a lot of speculation I have going on because I don't have the full picture of this world, but there's other people in this town with you, and they seem out of it, almost like even though you're occupying the same physical space, you're not actually seeing or experiencing the same things, which is fascinating to me, and I want to know more about what's going on in James's head because, for example, I always call her Abigail, but I don't think that's actually her name. It starts with an A. But she's in the town looking for her mom. Like, she's there for similar reasons as you. She's looking for someone, and she is going crazy to the point she's about to kill herself. And I think she remarks on the fact that her and James are in the town for similar reasons. And he's usually very calm in this game, and he loses his calm very rarely, which is why I think it's important when he does, like when he gets locked in this room with a boss from that shithead kid. But anyway, this girl's going crazy looking for her mom, and she's about to self-harm, and I think she remarks that, her and James are not so different, and he gets very defensive. He's like, I'm not like you, and I don't know, I'm
good.
like, maybe you are, James, maybe you are. I don't know, so I'm really enjoying it.
In the
it'll probably be 1 or 2 more play sessions.
So Bradley, you're at the historic. I just looked up. Have y'all gotten far into the Historical Society, or did y'all just get to the doorway? Kind of
not terribly. No, we kind of got to the doorway, saved, look around a little bit for shotgun shells.
Okay, so you actually have a few more. You're not even at the penultimate area yet.
I am pretty bad. I die a lot.
Yeah, and no, the game is longer than it should be, unfortunately. But I believe the area after this is the prison, and the prison was the point where I was like, I am never playing this game again. Like, it was like I walk into a room and I went, I can't fucking see anything. Like, period. Like, I was just like, I'm not having. I am having a good time, but I'm not having a good time. Kind of a situation.
Joe,
a lot of
Sorry, go on. I have a question after.
Yeah, a lot of primal fear, I think, in that area. Like, a lot more that at least for me, that I didn't realize was still there, and just was like, I was like, But yeah,
like the enemy placements and the scare placements, they're just masterful. I'm in awe.
Have you spot the reoccurring theme in the enemies?
Here's because I'm thinking we have like nurses and we have mannequins, and I feel like it's all related to this disease we've been talking about, but I don't have the full picture.
You're almost there.
Let him
Do you
cook.
remember
That's-
the boss? Yeah. You're almost there, I would say. Willer.
Question for you,
You-
Joe. What is scarier,
Yeah.
that room or House Benviento in Resident Evil 8?
Hang on. Let me think.
It's okay. The fact it's comparable is horrifying to me.
The thing is, it's like that room in Silent Hill 2 is like I think it's more of a me reaction than the Resident Evil 8 one. Like it just was like a thing where it's like I walked in there and I went in my brain as like a survival horror gamer went like all the things I use as like safety lines are not here for me for horror purposes.
Joe goes, "Oh
So
no!"
it's like, yeah, I literally walked in, and went, "No, I'm not staying here," and turned around and walked back out.
Peak.
I was like, I will literally do everything else first before I come back into
And
this
then
room.
in the very slow Silent Hill 2 Let's Play I watch every once in a while, I got to the scene with Eddie where he's holding the gun, and I just want to say that's a really good scene.
Yeah.
I really like that scene.
Oh, that's the start of that area, Willer.
Cool. Well, I get to skip.
Yeah.
I get to fast forward through the sheer length of it if I need to. So that's why.
Yeah.
You know.
But I'm excited to hear more from you, Bradley. But yeah, I would continue to like kind of. So there was a boss in the second hospital, and I want you to think about that boss a little bit.
And that boss, I found out was a girl after I killed it.
Yeah. That's an important note. But yeah, good. I'm glad you're having fun. Okay.
Damn it! I can't believe he was right and he picked good media for everyone to consume, and we live in
this was a
era.
good choice.
We literally live in a Joe era right now. It's so fucked.
So good.
This is what you wanted, you sick fuck. All right.
All I had to do is spend 120. No, sorry, I had to spend
way more.
$180.
Don't sell yourself short, buddy. You put some money into this era.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the main roads. Speaking, there's a little bit of a Tyler era. I have been going through some media that Tyler's recommended to me for a while when I have an opening. One such media is a Roundabout cast classic. We're going back to episode 1, where we wanted an excuse to talk about Steel Ball Run, and we filled it up with a couple of other things. A little bit of Bradley reading One Piece, a little bit of me reading Worm. There was something else there. It was me and Joe bitching about Sekiro. No, it wasn't that. It was Tyler talking about Run with the Wind. And that has been on my to-watch list ever since. Particularly because I think, like, there's just something about sports anime, man. Like, it might be the greatest storytelling medium of all time.
It's how they get you.
It's how they get you. It is the perfect environment for some of the best character development you have ever seen in anything. And I think part of it is because sports media runs parallel to your life, where it's just fantastical enough to be like that good and have like a team that's like that bonded and has so many cool storylines, but you know what they're feeling, because like if you did any like sports growing up, even if you like it also has the high school vibe, like everything still feels like relatable, and it hits like, this cross intersection of fantasy and reality. Grounded. Yes. Even the non-grounded sports shonen, like, because like it's in a frame of reference that you can really engage with. Like, I think it's always really good. Everybody, please read Haikyuu. It's probably the greatest written story I've ever read, but it's neither here nor there. One with the Wind is really good, Tyler. You were right all along.
It only took how many years?
6 or so years since we started this shit.
Just a few.
No big deal. Hey, at least I did it.
It's a while.
Yeah, you did it.
And I've done Tyler content since. And
I'm proud of you.
Yes, thank you. So I took some notes to get through this in a timely manner. One, I love Hyjay and his blackmail tactics. This is what I would consider the deuteragonist of the story. Like, the main character is Kakaru. I hope I don't remember the names now or forget the names now that it's been a while. Oh, I have them written down.
It's been so long for me, I'm gonna just assume you're right.
Kakaru is the main guy, and then Haiji is the guy who's bringing everyone together. Basically, this is a college anime, which is also incredibly rare. I don't think Japanese people give a shit about that time of their lives for some reason. It's all about high school.
It's so miserable.
But high school is miserable for them too. Like, they have to work so hard. I've read that they actually get to unwind a little bit during college, but their culture is so like high school's the best days of your life.
You know why there's not a lot of college anime.
I don't like the tone of your voice right now, young man.
You know why.
You know why.
So, in this dorm, Kakaru is like, he needs a place to live while he's going to school, and he gets invited to this dorm with a colorful cast of characters. You got some twins. You got like a older software developer that's still hanging out in the dorm, but he graduated already. You got some guy like doing his big interviews for work. I
thought the software developer was going to grad school. Like,
that's what it is.
It's he's what is it? The fifth lap?
Yeah.
Bonus lap?
Yeah. He's there doing where we worked at for the extra 6 months that you could stay there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing undergrad. You got even like I believe Nigerian exchange student, so you get to see a colored character in an anime, which is cool. You got the soft-spoken guy, and then you got like a lawyer who's really smart and passed like the bar, so he's getting ready to like start an incredible career, and he's trying to like, have an enjoyable time until then. And then you have Haiji, who goes on to blackmail all these people to join a running club. This is the DNA of who Tyler is, and when he's like, hey, I'm going to make you all run. I'm like, no, because if you give these people an inch, they will take several miles from you. That is literally several miles out of you every fucking day.
So, how he blackmails them, Will, are you going to go into that?
You can go into that. Jump in.
Okay, so how he blackmails them is the entire time they've been living here, they've signed a lease. And this building that they're living in is actually the college's track and field team. But because the college doesn't support the track and field team, it's just the main character, one of the main characters. Haiji. So until they get a 10th person, the track and field team is not active. And then once they get their 10th person, they either do the track and field or they get kicked out of the place they're living. And the place they're living, they're charging them like, imagine going to college and paying like $150 a month for rent. Like, that's the equivalent to where they're living.
It's chill as fuck. And it's really good for everyone, which kind of forces their hands. And I forgot to mention one very important character. He's called Prince. And Prince is a little bit of an obstacle to the plan because he is a manga nerd who is he's
not the only obstacle. He is not an obstacle. It's one of the very endearing challenges that they all face together.
Dude, this guy cannot even run for it. He like walks every like run that they do. And Haiji says, "Hey gang, we're gonna go run the Ekiden, a 10-person run where we like hand off the baton and like depending on how well you did, you get like time bonuses, like a proper real ass race." Across multiple like levels of terrain and inclines, so every leg of the race has like a small little gimmick that you have to find the right match for your running team. But because they only have 10 players, they have to do this with Prince. They have to do this with all the characters that don't want to do this bullshit. And no one can be sick or anything, or else they're going to be losing a leg of the race. So they've never ran, by the way, with the exception of 3 of the characters. But one of them has been smoking because he's in grad school, so he's not in the best shape. One of them is our main character, Kakaru, who is incredibly good at running. But his experiences in his previous teams have made it really hard for him to, like, really get into the concept of being in a team when you run. Like, he views running as a very solitary thing. And then Haiji is really good at running, but he had a very bad injury in the past. Classic storyline. If you've ever read anything involving sports, you know that injury is going to pop up at some point to be a problem. And aside from that, you got, like, the twins played soccer, and that's it. They're just...
The twins is my favorite sports trope ever. If you don't know about sports, and this is very real life too.
Yeah, it's not
if you
even-
have a set of if you have a set of twins that do sports, they are OP as fuck.
Yeah,
They're-
These powerlifters at our school, they didn't even look. They looked like the most average motherfuckers, but they were twins and they could lift like 100 pounds more than everybody else.
Dog, there's something wrong with them. Like, there's always the
Well,
twin
I played-
thing going on with sports twins.
It's like the
When I
plus
played
and minus
baseball-
passive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I played baseball, we had shortstop and first baseman twins, and it was just fucking clockwork every time with them when it came to like
That's
passing.
crazy.
And,
Oh man.
yeah.
Well, these twins are not locked in, so like they are enjoying their freshman year. I believe them and Cocker are the only freshmen on the team, and they're just trying to party and pick up chicks. So we gotta get them into line. Every character has like an obstacle to overcome. One of the characters, Shindo, he's like the most normal, meek character, but he's the one that kind of buys into the idea of like, this is a challenge for me to overcome. And because he's that annoying person who's like, dude, don't go in with the blackmail. Like, you're gonna slightly start forcing us all to do it. But because Shindo buys into it, like, all tide rises and they all eventually lock in, but we still have a lot of things to go through. Like, the main character, Kakaru, is a character that, like, literally runs away from his problems. And the way that the show represents that fear that he's running away from, but also the joy that he gets out of running, like, the presentation of the show in those moments is very surreal and, like, very elevated art. Like, you really buy into that runner's high that characters like Kakaru get when they're really in the zone. There's, like, so because it's running, there's not, like, a ton of strategy. There's like some here and there.
It's all heart.
It is all heart and like very minor struggles and strategization, like drafting and stuff, like Bradley mentioned with Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's about finding the right fit for the right person and knowing how to motivate each player.
So, for a little bit more context, Willer, this is a good way to paint this picture. Imagine y'all are at A&M, okay, and your landlord comes up to you and says, "Hey, guess what? In the next semester, you have to train to run a competitive half marathon,
Yeah.
or you get kicked out of your living situation."
I'm cooked, dude. In my most fit I've ever been, I was always a short distance runner. Like, I was pretty fit back in like the heyday of high school football. I just don't have the long stamina in me. Even when I run now, like it's a lot of like sprinty stuff and then like incline walks. Because that's all I can really handle in my body. I wouldn't have done it, y'all. I would have
The
done
race,
it.
the race they run is 134 miles over 2 days. It's
Jesus.
it's a 10-man relay over that amount of time.
It's insane.
I would die.
Oh yeah.
I would just jump off the bridge the first time I saw it while I was running.
But the thing is, dude, like they get Prince to do it. You don't understand how pathetic this motherfucker is, man. It's crazy.
Did you cry during the Prince episode?
Oh, dude, it wasn't one that made me cry. But like my emotions were getting there, man. Like I have a strong dam that very rarely breaks, but that dam gets a lot of water. Let me tell you, like it rises. The one that really got me was Shindo's episode near the end. That was peak fiction. But then what also got me was Kakaru handing the thing to Haiji in 9 to 10. The way that was presented, I was like, oh, this is what it's all about right here.
Which one was Shindo again?
Shindo is, so hold on. Here's a thing of Prince. This is like Prince running kind of well in this GIF I'm sharing. Like this is like relatively good Prince running. He has no form. He's ass. Let me see if I can find Shindo.
Oh yeah, they have the writing on him.
I didn't find Shindo, so here is Hinata from Haikyuu instead. That's my guess.
That doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. Look it up on your own time, I guess. And then finally...
No, I'm looking at the character list. Shindo is not a character.
Yes, they call him... No, King is the other guy. Oh, man, don't do this.
What does he look like?
He's the guy with the little beauty mark. He's the one that I haven't, like...
Sugiyama.
That Sugiyama's from Haikyuu.
No,
that's
Sugiyama has
Sugiura.
the little beauty mark. I know who you're talking about.
That's King. No,
that's the lawyer.
Yes, that's
Yes,
Yuki.
I know what you're talking about.
Yuki's
Yes,
super good.
Sugiyama has a very heartwarming episode as well.
Yeah, he does. Heartwarming is a donkey.
Dude, I cried probably 3 or 4 times watching this anime.
Yeah, it really gets to you. So naturally, the finale gives everyone a really good moment and stretch. But I would say that if there's anything to like take down from this show, not all of those final arcs are equal. I think King and the Twins arcs are a little lacking in comparison to the rest. And so is the black guy's name is Musa. I think Musa is also like I wanted a little bit more from him because he's a character that didn't get a lot of focus, but he's very likable throughout the show. But aside from those 3 or 4, I think everyone else got really good send-offs.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we didn't need those characters. Maybe they go more in like the light novels and talk about them, but I wasn't dissatisfied.
That's the thing. Like I wanted a little bit more, but I'm also not upset with what we got because the pacing throughout this is really good. And like when you're focusing on 10 characters, it makes sense that maybe you can give like a lot of focus to about 6 of them, and then not so much the others.
You know, this is a 23 episode anime. It takes the GOAT Oda to go 1,000 episodes to focus on 10 characters. You know?
He can cycle 400 episodes before remembering Frankie exists. So like it's hard to balance a cast of 10 or 11.
It is.
So I gotta give him that. And then so I got my character rankings: Kakeru, Haiji, Prince, Yuki, Nico, and Shindo. Who is not Shindo apparently. Those are my favorites.
That is his nickname is Shindo. I recall.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. Cool.
I did more investigation.
Thank you. And yeah, like I've heard it say that Kakeru and Haiji are like soulmates, but not in like the romantic way. It's just like their worldviews literally complete each other in a way that's really satisfying by the time you get to the end of the show, and like their dynamic is super good. But that's Run with the Wind. That's a certified Tyler banger. That's a classic. Good recommendation,
glad you made it
Tyler.
here.
Yeah. But you know what? Another one. I've started Megalobox. I'm on episode 5 or so. So we're there. We're making progress. I'm on my Tyler era I need to combat the overarching Joe empire that's being built up. So
balance scales.
I'm doing what I
But
can.
Megalobox is also Bradley content.
It is. So
God, I love that show.
we will talk about that more in the future.
Do you like the so at the end of episode 2, I believe, like in the episode 2, they set up kind of like the premise of the show, you know?
We gotta get into Megalodia.
Yeah, like what do you think so far about Megalovania?
It's going. I think to be honest, the concept of Megalobox is really stupid. so I'm trying to vibe with it. But I like Joe. Quick thing, do y'all know the significance of calling him Joe? Shut up, you. Just because it's your era doesn't mean I'm talking about you right now. Do y'all know the significance of calling that main character Joe?
Yeah, he's average Joe.
Nah.
And also, this is technically
Joe.
this is like a
Nah.
reboot of a way older anime.
Wait, it is?
Where he was also called Joe. Yeah. It's called like Aishita no Joe or something.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. There's a very famous manga/anime called Ashita no Joe. It's very influential to a lot of stuff that you've experienced. I've never seen it myself, but like it's constantly brought up as a classic. I did not realize that this was like I mean, Ashita no Joe is not futuristic at all, so this is kind of like a retelling of that.
Are y'all saying you're saying Hajime no Joe? Is it
No,
Hajime no Ippo?
No.
There's there's Hajime no Ippo, and then Ashita no Joe.
The way I
This is-
understand it, this anime was originally intended to be like a straight remake of it, and they decided to go for more of like reboot than remake. So like it shares the DNA, but yeah, like I don't think the original had.
That's really
like,
cool.
Metal art.
Well, I was gonna come here and educate you about Ashita no Joe, but like it goes deeper than I thought, so that's really cool. Yeah, so I'm keen to watch more. The art style is very interesting. I was mentioning like, it's very retro 90s. And most recently, like we recruited the little kid. We did the Gearless arc, which is insane. Like
Fearless Joe.
Yeah, it's good. Gearless Joe is great.
Gearless Joe is so ridiculous, bro, because he gets hit once, with gear on and nearly dies, but also he was feeling fear. So like the idea that he doesn't get hit once in like 3 fights to me is absurd. But here we are. Like our protagonist is built different. He's just that guy. I recently, this is a small side tangent, but like after hearing a lot of things about Cyberpunk 2077 for years, and Joe even like kind of liking it from what I recall, I saw it on sale, so I started that game on a whim, and I'm getting kind of similar vibes. Like this is like that Cyberpunk. This is more like, I don't know, Diesel Punk, some punk. I don't know, one of the punks, but they're giving me these parallel story kind of ideas. That said, Joe is like creaming over here to talk about a certain book that he read, like a little known book that he might like a little bit. I wanted to get this out of the way early because depending what he does here, we might just have to chop off the entirety rest of the podcast. So go ahead, Joe.
Let's hear it. Okay. All right. In 1976, Ken Liu was born in Linzhou, China. He grew up there with his grandmother for 11 years. Well, I say with his grandmother. He was primarily raised by his grandmother for 11 years, and he was basically told a lot of stories about ancient China, a lot of Chinese folklore. Very much influenced his life when it came to storytelling and everything. Eventually, he moved to the United States at the age of 11 with his parents, who were chemical engineers and mechanical engineers, like really smart people. He eventually went on and became a software engineer over at Microsoft before he eventually went back to school at Harvard Law and became a lawyer before he decided that he wanted to be a an author instead. I bring this all up because I think one of the key, the best stories is when you can really see an author's influence and passions in that story and the way it's developed. And I think it's really, really pertinent in the Dandelion Dynasty. Mainly because for the first quarter of his life, Ken Liu lived in China. And that is what primarily the Great Kings is about. It's about very much a Chinese myth. It's very much influenced by China and their folklore, their culture, and everything. The next 3 books in the Dandelion Dynasty series is about America and his entire life in America and what it means to live there and the cultural revolution evolution he saw growing up there. And I think it's a very incredibly fascinating book. That I think is just so well done over the course of essentially over half a century of this developing nation of Dara and how it kind of develops as a nation culturally. It's impressive that he's able to take the culture of a nation and that's a main character of the story and is kind of the driving focus. Very much is a story about what is the heart and soul of this nation going to be at the end of everything that's happened in the story. I'm not going to go a lot into this because you should just all read the Dandelion Dynasty. I'm
doing my job.
It's incredible. It's one of those things. I finished the last book and I kind of just sat in my car and realized I don't have this series to look forward to now in the future, because basically after I finished the second book, every book was just there to fill space before I could read the next one and be ready for the next one.
Yeah, it's kind of like finishing a Persona game, and you're just fuck, man, what do I where do I go now?
And the last 2 books in particular are interesting because they were originally developed as one book, and the publisher for Ken Liu went to him and was like, "This is all great. We physically cannot publish it. It's too many pages." So it had to be cut strictly down the middle. And I think the 3rd book does take some hits to it just a little bit because you don't get those resolutions until the 4th book. And I don't mean the 3rd book was written and then a year later the 4th book came out. The 3rd book came out in May and then the 4th book came out in August. They're we're printing them and we're getting them out as quickly as we can. They were definitely supposed even the audio book for the 3rd book, they're hey, this is supposed to be read the same time as the next book. So if you have the chance, just read them all the way through, or listen to them all the way.
So
through.
how did you go about 3 and 4? Did you take the unadvised break?
Unfortunately, yes. Because
bad boy.
I primarily, the reason being is I did not want to listen to the last book at the job I was currently working at. I was like, I am going to hold off on listening to this until I get a new job, and I do. So I was like, as soon as first day into my new job, I was like, all right, we're gonna start listening. And so I basically listened to it every day on my way to work for the past 3 months or so. I don't recommend doing that, but I do recommend taking breaks between the first book, the second book, and the third book. Like, I think it really behooves you to not binge the series, because there is so much going into it. Like, you kind of just need to soak in the series.
Just from the one book I've read, I definitely want to soak this up because I really, really love that book. I wouldn't want to compromise the experience of reading these personally.
Yeah, especially because they are very long books, and especially in the third and fourth book, there's a lot of mechanical detail, as how things work and how things operate mechanically. So it can get really bogged down, and his prose is fantastic, but it does make it hard to kind of visualize and understand what he's trying to describe. But when it finally comes together, you get it. It's such a poetic way of describing a light bulb. It's
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yo, can we go, Joe? I know you've got a script. I'm so sorry, but I have a question.
No. Yeah.
This is a tangent, not side tangent. I'm gonna make myself real vulnerable here, okay?
Yeah.
Will you explain to me how you are reading something and you go, yeah, these what makes you go, these pros are great? Because growing up, my experience to saying pros, that was a UIL event, okay?
Yeah,
and it was just somebody reading or acting a monologue, that was it or something.
It's the best way to describe it is they're using the words to make you feel what the image is trying to convey. For instance, when I was describing the light bulb, it conveys the sense that someone had of getting a good idea, essentially.
Tyler asks a very good question. Sorry, go on, Joe, but I got something to add.
But essentially, you get this sense of what the author is trying to make you feel with the most mundane things, potentially. Not even that, but just there's the
It's very hard to describe. Yes,
yes.
I'm just gonna say it's because I also because I didn't read books for a while, coming back to Audible books, I had to refine my way in reading, analyzing prose, because when you're reading manga or sometimes it'll pop up in a manga monologue, for example when Oda talks about the road to the sun when Jinbei's doing the blood transfusion, or in an anime when you see the Ant King in Hunter x Hunter, or the narrator in Hunter x Hunter describe the Ant King's feelings, you're just ooh, there's something about the words here. But it's not until you get back to books where prose is the number one way they can express themselves. It's not these other mediums, or even movie, that you can use more than dialogue. You can use cinematography to express yourself. Books only have prose, right? So it's it took me a while to start spotting moments that I think are good prose, but there's no answer to it. It's just you need to read something and be oh, that is invoking something in me, and it's making my imagination work in tandem with what the author wanted me to understand. It's a really creative way of using dialogue or describing something, and I feel particularly Grace of Kings, the first one that I read, some of the best prose I've ever read in anything. So there's just something about it.
You get the deeper meaning of something, even if it's just the most basic description of that thing.
Something that highlights the prose of this author is that in a couple of pages he will tell you the love story between one of the main characters and his wife. It goes by really fast, but just the way that he's done carries years and months of weight, and like every single line is hitting, and you're like, we're moving through it really fast, but I completely understand how this like relationship grew and came to be in this time. Like it's like when you look at a manga and you can recognize good paneling, or if you look at a movie and you can recognize good cinematography or directing. It's just something you have to like be exposed to, and not everyone's going to agree on what's good and what's not. You just have to find your own answer.
I see. Like, so it's just like, these are, I guess it's like, it's kind of like one of those things where I can look at it and be like, oh yeah, this is a great game, but it's not for me, you know, like classic Tylerisms. Yeah. Where it's like, once you get back to reading enough, it's, oh yeah, you know, he's very good at describing this person's feeling, but I fucking hate character growth, so fuck that shit.
So that's a really good example, Tyler. Sorry, real quick, because you can see things about game design that other people wouldn't see, because you work that muscle more than other people do. But it's like the same, like someone who reads a lot is going to be able to work that muscle of like looking at prose and analyzing prose.
Like, for example, there are a few points in the book where a few characters essentially like very bluntly just state the themes of the book, but because how it's stated, who it's stating it, when it's being stated, and like why it's being stated, makes it have so much more weight to it. And like it's like, to do evil is very bad. Like, okay, yes, but like depending on the person saying that and the way they say it can evoke a lot of feelings too. And it's like, it's so hard to describe. It's the Grace of Kings, I think, is like incredible of just like giving you that feeling of like, this is what like master artistry of the written word is. Like it's like crazy good. Like the Grace of Kings is like highly like underrated, I think.
No, it's probably my favorite prose. I'll throw 10 of French books in there, but then like someone like, I wouldn't say Brandon Sanderson is like, he's not bad at prose, but he's not like in the same level of prose as those authors. He has other strengths, for example.
Yes,
he's very good at action writing. I do appreciate that about him.
Yeah, he's got very clean action and very clean like story flow direction, but like
but for like another example, like Ken Liu like writes battle scenes, but the battle scenes are written very like, and so they took the left flank and the left flank charge, but the charge was like done on muddy ground, and that causes the horses to slow. And that's just like me giving like a like play by play of like a play by play of like what's happening, but the way he writes it like evokes that imagery of like, but so much simpler. It's hard to describe until you're actually listening to it.
You guys really like, I hate it. I hate to say it. Joe's so right. Y'all just need to listen to the Grace of Kings, because like we can't put into words how this guy weaves a story. It's really fascinating and incredibly.
And the thing is, I think the other thing too that great Ken Liu does is that he trusts you as the reader to fill in your own gaps of what's happening. Like there's a scene where like they're on a wall and they're like pouring boiling water over the enemy, and he gives you the space as you're reading to visualize what that is, like on your own. Like you just like you. Yeah, like,
but Joe, what if I trusted Ken Liu to tell me about that?
There's other authors for you then.
I'd be hurt.
The thing is, Tyler, he does do that, but he knows like when to like press down on that pedal and when to let go. That's the thing.
He's a very smooth driver. He's excellent.
Yeah,
it's kind of like some authors. Some authors, when a character walks into a building, they'll like spend a page describing what everything in that room looks like, and it sounds like he just doesn't waste time on unnecessary descriptions. He gives you enough to get the picture, but he doesn't waste time
for some things.
A good example of prose that the three of us might know, you, me, Bradley, Tyler, or not Joe, is how Wildbow describes Taylor doing a certain action in, I think, arc, I forgot what, 25, 26 of Worm, where she does something insane with a gun in a room with some people, and then they just like very quick
yeah,
dialogue of like, and then Taylor did this, and then a bunch of
know
other
what?
stuff happens. You're like, wait, and then Taylor did what? It's like that's one of the many ways that you can like use the shortness of a sentence to show that a character is not thinking about an action and is moving on to other things. Like just one example of many of like prose.
You're
being
speaking
used
my
really
language. I get what you're talking about now.
well. Yeah, we said the W word, worm.
Yeah, but
we're-
like,
Bradley, do you have any thoughts on prose? Because we've been
yeah,
letting you loose.
discussing it.
Like on this book, because I haven't read this book.
No, just like
No,
you
in
know,
general.
prose in general. You got any thoughts?
When y'all were listing really good authors for prose, I thought it was kind of unfortunate because I know people really don't like this woman right now, but J.K. Rowling does write very good prose in the Harry Potter books. Like
Yeah.
they got popular for a
unfortunate.
reason.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I think another one that I enjoy is Hemingway. He kind of does the same thing where like he wants you to figure out what's going on, and the story's going to keep continuing, and then once you realize everything else makes sense, which it sounds counterintuitive, but it's very engaging because you're just trying to like dig through his meanings there. But yeah, but Grace of Kings, the Dandelion Dynasty in general, incredible series. Like the last chapter, I think the best way to describe this is like when the last chapter hits, you feel like the storm has like passed and there's nothing but sunlight at the end of for the rest of the day. Like it's just incredible, like the feeling of like that last chapter is. But yeah, I highly recommend it. I think it's like one of the best series I've read in a long time.
Now it's going to take Joe a decade to find something to properly compare this against.
I think 2 decades, but yeah, we'll have to see. But I'm reading. But 2 things. One, Ken Liu is releasing another book this year in October, and it's the start of a new series, and it's sci-fi cyberpunk theme, and I am very interested to see how he does that this time around. And then number 2, I started another book, which is the second book in a series called The Drop of Corruption. The book is called Drop of Corruption, but this is the sequel to the book The Tainted Cup that I read last year, which is like this like murder mystery story but like it takes place in this fantasy world where like people didn't develop like gunpowder and technology and like with ironworks and electricity. They developed like organic ways to improve their lives. Like everyone gets like grafted like mushrooms onto them to like improve their skin or to like increase their brain capabilities, stuff like that. Second book so far has been great. He's been killing it and it's really covered up his
You know what?
weaknesses.
I think I've read a book like that before where it's like they didn't invent cars, they like genetically engineered horses that can run as fast as cars do, like that kind of feeling.
Kind of, yeah, but it's a lot more like organic. Like
Okay.
like the highest tier of metal they have is iron, and even then it's used in like very sparse places. But yeah, that's me. That's Dandelion
What we got
Dynasty.
now?
It's a whole lot of prose, but like I don't have a lot to share with y'all until like y'all read. Because
I get you.
Yeah.
So I did expect you to go a bit more. Needless to say, you like
Yeah.
books 3 and 4, like right? Like they're really
yeah.
good. Yeah.
I think the tier list I would give to this series is 2, 1, 4, 3, and like the gap between 4 and 3 is the smallest line font you could possibly get on a Word document, if not smaller.
Well, the more important question: what's the gap between 4 and 2? Sorry, 4 and 1.
4 and 1, it's like basically like half spacing, 10-point font.
I didn't expect that measurement. Are they? What would you put them in your Audible star rating if you were to review them? Are they all 5s or some of them 4.5s? What are we looking at?
I think they're all 5s. I think 3
Okay.
is still really
That's all,
good.
That's all I need then.
Yeah. Like 3, I love 3. 3 has so many good themes to it. Like it's like the awakening of like this is what the whole fucking story is about, kind of a feeling that you get to at one point.
Hey, Joe,
Yeah.
is this a Tyler series?
It's an everyone series. I don't.
Also, it's like the way he talks about it. It sounds like it's an everyone series.
I think you would all love it for different reasons. I think Tyler, you would like it, but I think you would be the least likely to like it. But I think you will really like Grace of Kings, and I don't think you will like the rest of the books. That's
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What I will say is Tyler is going to love Kunigaru and Mata Zindu like I do.
Yeah.
I think it's hard not to, right? It's just so well done.
I agree.
Cool. Well,
here's what I've learned is that instead of grading stuff with numbers or letters or tiers, now we're gonna do how many spaces of which point font is this?
Yeah.
it is a era of jail. We grade things like he does. It just keeps going. Cool. Well, the bright side, Joe, is that we will definitely talk about this again because I am definitely reading more of these books, so don't you worry about that. Cool. Bradley, you've been playing Todd Howard's latest classic, his oldest classic, actually, Oblivion Remake.
They came out with something that's not Skyrim, so it's kind of crazy. It's a crazy time for the gaming world right now.
I know.
Instead of coming out with the same game they've come out with a million times, they came out with the same game they've come out with once. And
That's
I
good
gotta
prose.
say, I think this is how you do a remaster, man. I think there's a lot of remasters out. Like, remaster is kind of a spectrum where some will just go. Some will go the full mile and like remake. Well, I guess a remake and a remaster are at the same. But there are some things that are remasters where it's just like, you know, we're on a newer console, so we can do the full quality audio and maybe AI upscale the textures or something.
We call that The
game-
Last of Us remaster, which there has been like 2 of them.
I'm just like, dude, this game. Oh my god, it's fundamentally the same game. I think all the underlying code is the same. But visually, this game is, I think, very nice to look at. The faces are still kind of jank, which I guess is part of Oblivion's charm for the people who grew up playing it, which wasn't me, but I did play it a long time ago. But no, this game is really beautiful to look at. I'm very impressed. I haven't gotten like crazy far into it just because I feel like there's a lot of media going on right now. The only thing I didn't like about this, and I can't remember if it was a problem with the original, is I started out on expert difficulty, which is the hardest, which expert difficulty shouldn't be an option, or they need to rework it, because the gap, going from the normal difficulty to expert, like, quadruples the enemy health and doubles the damage you take.
So it is a masochist difficulty.
Yeah.
I was running into wolves, and it would take me and my summon like 2 minutes to kill one, and if it hit me twice, I was dead.
That sounds
so-
awful.
Which made me realize like how much
Game
I
balance.
like the Kingdom Hearts critical difficulty, where both you and the enemies take more damage. I kind of like that style now. No, but overall, I don't have a ton to say about this. Like, it's Oblivion, but it just looks beautiful. So, I know one thing a lot of people have kind of been back and forth on is one thing people especially liked about Oblivion at the time it came out, which is like when consoles first started to be able to do kind of more realistic graphics. Like, you can see the art style shift from Super Smash Bros. Melee to Brawl, where they're like, okay, we can handle more realistic textures, so we're going to try to make this game look more realistic. And that's what a lot of games around that time do, which leads to a lot of games around that time looking kind of gray and brown, because that just kind of looks more realistic for nature instead of like the bright greens you would get from the era before. And people really liked Oblivion at the time for the fact that it had these realistic textures, but still kind of retained that vividness in the colors of the era before. And I think there's kind of like a debate going on with this game where some people are like, I don't know, like, it looks like Oblivion, but it doesn't look like Oblivion. I kind of miss my colors, but I don't have a big horse in that race. I think this is a good remaster. If someone likes Oblivion, it is worth picking up.
This is my same thought about the Silent Hill 2, like, voice acting.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've listened to the old voice acting in the
I
first
haven't.
one, Bradley, at all. It's atrocious.
Oh, damn.
It's like, and like, I can understand what people say. Like, it's like, but it adds to the weirdness of the Silent Hill settings. Like, okay, but I don't need every other line to feel like it should have been a third take.
It's cope.
Like,
Yeah, there's
It's
good weird
cope.
and bad weird.
yeah, it's hard.
Also,
cope.
Luke Roberts is so good as
Oh yeah,
as Ethan.
Ethan, thank you. I forget this guy's name.
Who's that guy?
He's such the most normal ass man.
Wait.
But you know what?
It's not Ethan. Ethan is the Resident Evil 8 guy. Who is that guy?
Who is this guy? James.
Oh god, which white guy are we talking about?
But the thing is that, like, because he's so fucking normal, it plays so much more into, like, what that game is. Anyways, but yeah. Riley, would you recommend the Oblivion remake?
I mean, I would if you like Elder Scrolls. My deal is
Okay.
I've played so many hundreds of hours of Skyrim, and I've
Yeah.
never beaten the main story in that game. I just get far enough that you learn your first shout, and then I go do whatever I want.
That's
This game's a very different experience for me. I love the story quest in this game. I actually, it's the number one thing I want to do because the Oblivion gates are so fucking cool.
That's fair enough.
Bradley, are you playing the Super Edition with the DLC? Have you got to the DLC at all?
I didn't get the Super Edition because I was like, I don't know if I'm that big a fan of this game.
Oh,
How do you
okay.
feel now?
Oh, okay.
You played a
Oh,
little
yeah, how
bit.
do you feel now, huh?
No, you.
Oh, me?
Yeah, have you changed your mind? Are you gonna pick it up or not?
I don't know, cause like I did have fun playing this, but there's still a lot of games out I haven't played right now. Like I haven't even touched Clair Obscur yet, and I feel like that's kind of like required reading for this year.
Gun to your head, as you'll
Yeah.
soon find out. Okay, cool. Wait, they've changed combat a little bit, right? Have you noticed any of that? It's what I heard.
It feels the same to me.
What?
I think like the underlying gameplay is about the same, which I will say because of that, combat does feel better in Skyrim. Like Skyrim combat just your attacks feel more weighty, the impacts are better.
That's
and
such
so,
a low bar, dude. I think Skyrim combat
Yeah.
feels so whack.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
really.
I
looking forward to
I think the main thing a lot of people are attracted to about Oblivion is I think the guild side quests are better, to be honest.
Yeah.
That all the guild questing was way better than Skyrim, but also the magic crafting system.
Yeah. I think
I can't
also,
believe
like,
oh my god, magic crafting. Ugh.
Skyrim also has the problem of, like, you can technically be everything, and I don't like that in my RPG, if I'm being honest. Like,
Yeah, it's
So, like,
it's fun to have to spec, I think.
yeah. Like, Oblivion, I think, has some cutoffs of, like, some quests for, like, different guilds if you go with other guilds. But yeah.
Cool. All right, Joe, why don't you tell us about Split Fiction?
Oh! Yes. I played Split Fiction with a friend of mine. This is probably the best co-op game I've ever played, like, full stop.
Oh, okay. Did you play It Takes Two?
I did not.
This looks like it shares the DNA, right? Is
Well,
it
it's the same
It's the same
company.
people. They only make these games. Take Me Brothers, A
Yeah.
Way Out, the one
It
I
Takes
just
Two.
said, It Takes Two, and now Split Fiction.
And Split
Well, they
Fiction.
know what they're
Yeah.
good at. Holy shit.
Like, Split Fiction is about two authors who are getting a publishing deal, but when they come in, they're like, you're going to get hooked up to our machine, and you're going to be able to write your books with your mind. And there's an accident, and they end up being in the same bubble, and they realize, like, oh, they're just stealing our ideas. We need to stop them, kind of stuff. That's the general story. Since I remember, like, reading reviews and listening to reviews, they're like, the story's not great. I think the story's actually pretty decent. Like, it's got some real good heart to it and a really good bonding over, like, these two authors and, like, where they come from and, like, why they write. And
Are
I
the
really,
characters
really
pretty
like it.
likable? Because that would do wonders.
Yes, they are very likable.
Nice.
Me and the person I play with, we picked both the perfect, like,
Fit.
pair. Like, we eat, like, the fit. Like, we're like, I was like, you pick who you want to be, and they did. And I picked the other person. As we were going, like, I am so glad I am me and not you at this moment. And
that's the It Takes Two feeling. Like there are some levels where we're obviously each looking at our own screen, and then later when we go back and see what the other person had to be doing, one of us will be like, "Oh my god, you just got to fucking hang out," and then one of us will be like, "I can't believe you had to do that."
It's so good. Like, there are just multiple moments where it's just like I'm having to frantically do this fucking, like, puzzle, and then my buddy is just like, I just have to keep jumping and keep hitting these platforms. And meanwhile, I'm trying to fucking hack the U.S. government, basically. And like, it's just insanity and on every level. And like the final level of this game is absolutely crazy. It's so fucking cool. It's so much fun. It's like one of the best like co-op experiences I've ever had. Like, actually, I take that back. It is the best co-op experience I've ever had. Like, every mechanic in this game is so tight and like you don't spend a lot of time on these mechanics, but like you feel like you've gotten like a really full grip of like what they could do, what they were working with each level. And each level also is very much inspired by different like video games. Like, there's an Assassin's Creed part where like you jump off a tower into a hay bale. There's a fucking Mega Man level where you each get a blaster and you have to like platform jump and shit, and the screen like goes 2D and you're staring the screen. There's like a fucking Devil May Cry level. There's like God, there's just so much in this game, and like if it just is so fun. It's also like great pacing. 10 hours, you're in and out. Like, we basically did like 1.5 levels every single time. In addition, there are these side missions called side stories that aren't really side stories. Like, you should just play them. Like, don't get like don't skip them. Like, they're some of the best content in the game, and they are so fucking funny. Like, they are hilarious. There's one where you're just pigs and you're running around doing shit. It's so funny. There's also like a secret they had in this game where like they made a super hard level, and if you were the first people to beat the level, they would fly you out and they would let you preview their next game.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, and it got posted to Twitter, and it was a couple from Japan, and so they're being flown out there later this year to like go look at their next game.
That's awesome.
And everything. Yeah.
That's so interesting, because it's like, hey, you're the first person, you're obviously dedicated to our games, like, let's get some direct feedback from our core users, you know?
I don't even know if it's that. I think it's just like, fucking good job.
No,
like,
yeah, but, like, there's something to gain from them as well.
Yeah, and like that's the other thing about this game, and like I mentioned this to my friend every time we played it, like the game is not like a game for babies. It's like legitimately like we are expecting you to at least play video games fairly frequently to play this game. They are not like, it's not like there's the gamer and then there's the girlfriend. It's like, no, the two of you play games. Like, this is your opportunity to play together, kind of a thing.
It is a little fucked up though, because sometimes like It Takes Two is kind of very marketed to be it's like very coupley marketing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you play coupley or like roommate market, like that's the core audience here.
This is the core. This is the best game to play with your bro. I don't like.
That's interesting. I've always saved these games in my mind. Like, if you ever hear about me playing these games, I'm probably 2 months off from proposing to someone. Like that. That's where they exist in my mind. So chances are you'll never hear me playing about them.
Damn.
I really want to try Split Fiction with Emmy, because we really loved it.
You should.
Too. And I remember the year it won Game of the Year, there were a lot of people online really mad about it, but everyone I know who actually played it, Takes Two, was like, yeah, fair.
As I recall, you pushed it as like super high in our game. Like, it got to 5th, I think, mostly because of you.
Everything Joe was saying about this game is like, yeah, that's this company. They're so good at what they do.
Like, Monster Hunter World came out like relatively the same time, and I was playing Split Fiction. Like, man, like, I'm like really having a crisis of faith here, because I think I'm enjoying this more than Monster Hunter at the moment. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's so fun, and it feels like, and especially when you have that one person you're playing with, like, it feels like so like, it's like, I'm so happy I get to play this game with you. Like, I'm so happy this is like part of our friendship now, is that we've played this together.
It's an experience.
Nice.
It is, and like I really recommend this to everyone, and like anyone that can get a chance to like play with another person that knows how to play games. Like Tyler, I think you and Kelly would really like Split Fiction. I think Kelly would really like the characters in Split Fiction.
Unfortunately, I think it is a motion sickness title.
I was gonna say, I bet you've run into that problem with the other one, right, Tyler? If I had to guess.
Yes, yeah, we did. It Takes Two also
Is it because of the split
it gives
screen?
motion sickness.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Like, Okay, because like so the one thing about this game is that you are always in split screen, even if you're like playing in different rooms and consoles. Like it's always split screen.
What?
Oh wait, that's weird because I remember on It Takes Two we were playing on separate computers and I think we each just had our own screen.
It's probably really very relevant if I had to imagine that it must
Actually,
be
yeah,
split
there might be a
screen.
reason.
Like
It's-
I would not be surprised if they bleed over constantly.
Because
It's incredibly relevant. Like it's
in
like
It Takes Two, you're always technically occupying like the same space and setting, but I've seen clips of this
Yeah.
game like in 2 different settings at once, and you would want to see what the other person's seeing. So
yeah, like it's like incredibly relevant that you like have that split screen in this game. And I was really annoyed by it by first, but like by the end of the game I was like, no, this was the best decision they could have made for this game. Like it makes you really kind of appreciate everything you're not doing and everything your like buddy is doing for you, because you get to see the bullshit they have to do.
Sound speak.
So yeah, but yeah, Split Fiction is fucking incredible. I
Like,
think y'all should play it.
This studio went from like the fuck the Oscars guy, because he went over there and said that in the Game Awards, like fuck the Oscars, and he was just a meme, and now he just makes consistent bangers. Like that's incredible. You love to see it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I got this like on a whim, and I was just like, oh hey, we're not playing Arkham this week. Let's do this instead for a few weeks and just see how we vibe. And we ended up finishing the game, and we really liked it. But yeah, great game. Just 10 out of 10. It's game of the year is gonna be brutal for me.
Yeah, as it always is. This year's already stacked, and it will continue to be so. So,
yep,
that's interesting. Real quick, Joe, you picked up that new Doom?
No, not yet. I'm
Okay.
like really debated.
I have new Doom.
Yeah, well,
So fun story.
you ain't playing shit.
Not fun story, but like, so when the new one came out, I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't played Doom 2016 in a while. I don't want to pay the extra money to play it early. Let me get. I had 2016 on the PlayStation. Let me boot that up and let me play it on the PlayStation. I've only played these games on PC, and I don't like the way it plays on PlayStation, like at all. To like the point where it's just like, I think I'll just wait until I get my computer back and play it on there, because like it's a really like it's a game where like you really want that snappy mouse control, like as much as I hate to say it. It's like I did not feel the juices like I was playing on my PC back when
I've also started playing it. What I'm probably gonna do, and this is what I do with Marvel Rivals, change the jump button to L1, because then like everything just makes more sense when the jump button is L1, because then your right thumb can still be on the camera, so you get the jump and aim and snap.
Yeah.
That's what I do for any shooter I play these days that has like jumping as a prominent thing. I've also picked up 2016. Maybe I'll continue playing it. It's good. I just need to find time.
Yeah, it's a great game. But no, I'll wait to make a decision on picking it up later. But I am excited to play it. I hear it's good. I hear it's very different from the other two, and that the story is fucking stupid. But you know, it's whatever.
Whatever.
that's the thing. With each of these 3 new Dooms, it seems like each of them are trying to do a very different thing, which isn't a bad thing.
No, but like, it does make you think like, Doom 2016.
I know.
That was just the game for men.
Joe, the way you just said that just now, you go like, Doom, and I'm like, Goolagoon.
I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. Speaking of Joe era, I'm now engaged with Warhammer content because I've booted up Bolt Gun because we got it for free.
Oh yeah.
So fuck you, Joe. You took it. You took my one last bastion of innocence that I had. Okay.
Yeah.
Me and I believe 2 others watched the movie Sinners after me poking them in the sides and be like, "Hey, watch Sinners, hey."
This was one of those things where, like, every once in a while, kind of like mouthwashing, Willer will just, like, bring up something like, hey, I saw this thing, you have to try it, and I'm like, fuck it, I guess I have to. Sinners,
before you continue,
the way you talked about it, I was like, okay, Emmy, we have to go watch Sinners.
Yeah, before you continue, I'm going to bounce. Let me know when you are done, because I do want to see this, but I just have not had the time.
And I think we will get into spoilers, unlike
no, I don't want
talks.
to stop y'all from doing that.
Yeah, no, this one has to be spoiled, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Joe, stick around for like 5 minutes, and then we'll tell you when to leave.
Okay.
Overall, did we like Sinners? I obviously liked it.
Like, here's the thing. I would give it at least like an 8.75 out of 10. I didn't think it was literally God's gift to man, like I've seen some people on the internet say,
Same.
but it's a pretty goddamn good movie.
I figured that would be the take from y'all. It is God's gift to man for me. I will say, Joe, before you leave, this movie is it's really good. What do you know about it, actually?
I know that it has a certain monster in it, and it's directed by Ryan Coogler.
Director
I
of...
believe
That's all you need to know.
Black Panther. Yeah.
Black Panther, the Creed movies, some other stuff.
Yep. So, like, I really want to see Creed. So, like, his work I really like.
And he loves Michael B. Jordan. He loves that motherfucker. That's his muse.
Loves black culture, too.
Yeah.
Like,
as a black man, I hope he'd be proud of his culture.
Yeah.
But he loves putting it on the screen and doing it really well. So
that's what
cool.
I mean. Yeah.
The monster referred to as marshmallows in a review I saw that was spoiler free. I was like, when the marshmallows show up, it's very fun. Cool. Yeah. I will just say, Joe, I really like this movie. I think you'll like it too because I think you and I are closer to movie tastes than the other subset of the group.
Yeah. Fuck them.
This movie, no, don't fuck them. This movie has probably my favorite scene in any movie I've ever seen.
I know the scene too.
I have no idea the scene.
It's everyone's favorite scene.
We're built very different, Tyler, you and I, and we're going to hash that out. Now, Joe, your uncles are about to get violent, so I need you to leave the room now.
Okay.
Bye. Okay, why do y'all hate me and hate this movie? What's wrong with you?
I don't hate this movie.
Kidding,
There's only one aspect of it that brought the points down, but otherwise, I feel like it's a perfect movie. Earlier, when y'all were talking about Dandelion Dynasty and like how efficient the prose is and the author kind of trusts you to connect dots, I feel like this movie has some of the most efficient dialogue I've ever seen in a movie where there will be a line exchange between two characters, and they don't need to explain the full history between these two characters. You can glean it from the context. That's one of my favorite aspects.
I think a relevant scene when that happens is like the older guy who they pick up, the drunkard. Like he just drops like a little tidbit about his life that explains a lot about black culture at that time, where he fits into it, his music career, his relationship with the Smokestack twins' father, I believe. Like, it was just so much information to gather. His relationship with Sammy's father. Like, there was just so much to absorb in one little conversation that it's so easy to miss a lot of those details. And there's a lot of that in the movie. And they only clarify some, like, very plot-relevant things of, like, for example, how the Smokestack's twins actually got their current wealth and like what they were actually doing in Chicago and New York or whatever. But what did you not? What took away the points? Because I think that's a good place to start.
We'll start there because afterwards I'm still gonna have like a half dozen amazing things to say about this movie. I just felt like near the end, kind of when we were at the climax, when the remaining twin and what's the main guy's name who has the angel's voice? Sammy. I think when Sammy and the remaining twin are kind of at their climax, they're about to be killed by their respective vampires. I feel like the climax resolved a little abruptly. I didn't get a very good emotional impact from it, but I don't know if I have the words to explain why. I feel like that whole movie went faster than the rest of it.
Smoke, or is it Stack at that point?
I don't remember who
Smoke, Stack. It's Stack. He kind of just teleports to the water.
That's the thing. So that's like the only kind of like 1 or 2 minute stretch where I was like, I don't know, man.
They also just spawn some red shirts in. Like they show them a little bit in the juke joint before. But like we don't talk to them. Like when we're doing the garlic scene, we don't engage with any of those red shirts just so they can die when the vampires actually break in. So that's like another moment that is like a little like, okay, we're just making up dudes to die now. It's fine.
That's honestly like the only part I wasn't like huge on the movie.
Tyler, what were you displeased with, sir?
Well, first of all, you asked like, why do I hate you? It's probably because I'm racist.
Well,
if you don't like this movie, you are racist.
Yeah.
One thing, like I I think Tyler is quite an appreciator of like black culture on that time, and I only say this because Princess and the Frog is your favorite movie, and like, well, that's not
It
the same
is.
time period, but you really like the juke joint
Asian
vibe
culture.
feels like that's your vibe, and I feel like there's some of that in here, so I thought you would at least like that element.
Yeah, I got some etouffee this weekend. I was actually very happy about that. Irrelevant, but um okay. So I like Blade. I like The Lost Boys. So I've like seen a lot of vampire movies. I guess more than the average person, it seems.
You're a horror buff.
Um like I first of all, not a horror movie. This is
No,
a
yeah,
sci-fi movie actually.
it's a thriller.
Yeah.
I will say those vampires got me to jump a little bit when Remick flies at the mixed chick at Haijili, whatever her name is. He's like you just see their glowing eyes. Also, the scene where Cornbread goes to pee in the woods and there's a bunch of fireflies, but you start to notice some of those fireflies are the vampire eyes. Like there's some unsettling imagery with those vampires, I think. But yeah, it's mostly a thriller.
It doesn't feel like a thriller to me, like at all. So like the two jump scare moments that they have in the movie are very just distracting more than anything. To me, it's just supposed to be like yes, it is thrilling, but not in the sense of like a horror thriller.
Yeah, it starts only halfway too, so it's not really even fully about that.
It gives From Dusk Till Dawn vibes.
I've heard that, which I've never seen that movie.
Which it's one of Quentin Tarantino's best. Like, also has like peak Selma Hayek in it, so you can see that. And Bandolier, I think, is the other movie where the guy has the gun in the guitar case. But yeah, like From Dusk Till Dawn is like one of my favorite movies. So it nearly follows the plot points to a T. It involves two brothers. They have questionable renown. They pick up a older man and a young female, and they are going across the border. They have a lot of money they're trying to keep up with, and they get stuck in a building filled with vampires. Like, that is From Dusk Till Dawn. That is Sinners.
This movie's plagiarism.
It's not plagiarism.
like all of Quentin Tarantino's work.
It's
his
fine.
famous line: "Good artists steal; they don't borrow."
Yeah. It's very good. Michael B. Jordan does really great playing both of his twins.
He's incredible in this. Like
I liked
the little differences between the twins are so well acted, and like they're very distinct people with very distinct backgrounds, and you can instantly like feel them apart.
Yeah. All the acting in this movie is very good. I loved all of it.
Sammy's first role, by the way.
Yes.
And
yeah.
he's
Which
great. He's out here dueling with Michael B. Jordan as like the best acted character in the movie. It's his first time.
He was a beast.
Yeah. It's all good. You know, it's as good as. I wouldn't say it's the best vampire movie I've ever seen, but you know, a lot of people are coming off of
Nosferatu, which I need to see.
Yeah, coming off of Nosferatu, and like we're not getting a Blade movie, I think, ever again. Which so it's good, you know. The scene where they are actually playing the music.
Yes, my favorite scene in the movies.
Yeah, so that is I feel like that is gonna be like one of the most debatable hot take scenes like in movies for a while. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it at all, actually. Like I thought it was very cheesy at first what was happening. I get we had the foreshadowing or foretelling with the prologue of the movie. And then then we get to that. Obviously, it's the climax of the movie. That's where everything's happening. Like that's where we're all shifting and changing and everything. It's 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 spiritually there, like I get it. So at first I thought it was gonna be a little bit cheesy because I think they start with like Prince, don't they?
They start with like a rocker guy, yeah,
They start with the Prince,
yeah.
and then they go to like DJ Master Flash, and like they have all the cultural dances and everything, and it's I don't know. I kind of just wanted to hear Sammy play.
I will say that's a scene where when I was experiencing it, my main joy came out of just the audiovisual experience because it's something to behold. After the movie was over, when I actually had time to think about it, is when I came to like kind of appreciate it more for, I think, what it does in the story, which we can get into if we want.
I'll get into it, then I'll talk about my takes on the scene.
Because I think very important to that scene is kind of like the main, what I feel is the main point of this movie is it's a big discussion on black spaces and cultural appropriation, which it was a very mindful choice to use vampires as like a literal form of like vampirism. Like they want to absorb you. You know what I mean?
Like there's even some alluring parts of the vampires, but ultimately they're going to assimilate you.
Y'all, okay though. Okay.
No.
That is
No,
I get where Bradley's coming from.
No, let's talk about the vampires later. Keep going, Bradley.
Yeah.
I guess, like, here's the thing. When it comes to cultural appropriation, I think there are two very big extremes of people that I dislike equally. Where there are some people who will just claim cultural appropriation doesn't exist at all, and there are some people who are way too trigger-happy to call something cultural appropriation. For me, I think about this scene where he's playing this music, and suddenly he is connected to both past and future, because both music and culture kind of evolves like an organism. It only becomes what it is because of what came before it, and it leads to what comes after. And so, you know, it's like, I think everybody loves it whenever something is appreciated for what it is, no matter what culture is appreciating it. But I think the problem comes whenever it's removed from that culture, when it's removed from what came before it, and it's just treated as something that popped into existence, is when, you know, people start to dislike it, which is kind of what they're scared of, I think, with the vampires, is being removed from their own history and just kind of being like a gray, muddy collective. I don't know how you feel about it, Willie.
No, you're absolutely right. And like, just to get to my feelings of that scene, what you said is its significance, and I also do agree that that's the theme of the movie. But just like as an experience, I go into this movie not really expecting anything. I hear it's really good. I don't know anything about it. I haven't had the Willer like goes on Discord and says like, please watch this movie, it's really good. I have to be really careful with like trying to express my love for things, because I feel like it can let people down. All I can say is like, oh, I really love this thing and I think you should watch it. And like, if I try to get into details, it doesn't usually go well. I think this podcast is like the only place where I can express that without like setting expectations too high. So I can say like, I really loved it, right? But like, I go in without the expectation of someone telling me that it's that good, right? So like, I'm really enjoying the movie. I really like the world building and the characters and the community that it's built. And then all of a sudden, we finally pop off and we do the juke joint song, and I am like I'm having like a spiritual moment in the theater. You can feel the air get sucked out of the theater when that started, because I feel like a lot of people had a lack of expectations like I did, which like you can feel the electricity in the room as the performance starts and you guys start understanding what's happening. You see past, present, future, but not only of black performance arts and music, but also everyone in the room. Like the Asian couple that's there too is also connecting with their roots, and they're dancing and they're having fun. And it's the most powerful representation of the power of music and arts connecting timelines that I've ever seen, because like that's what it's all about. Like, all we are in this planet is the things that we leave behind for future generations and the things that we carry on. That's one of my favorite themes in story. It's like the main theme of like one of my favorite games, 13 Sentinels, is like the idea of at any cost progressing the culture of humanity and those memes, not in the meme way, but in the traditional use of that word, like that flow of information to the future and how it connects to the past. Like that scene is such a beautiful way to represent it, but then how it crescendos into him burning down the barn, like literally burning down the house because his performance is that electric. It, like the visual and him playing on the burning door thing, which is like my current Discord PFP, as like everyone's dancing, everything's burnt to cinders. Like he literally just like broke the fabric of reality with his performance. I'm just levitating and all. Like this is why I experience stories and go to the movies and like watch any piece of media. Is like I am chasing the high that this story gave me, which is not present in many stories, but is present in all of my big favorites that I always like yap about all the time. They have like a moment like this or like a theme like this that kind of transcends everything and then like really latches on to me. So it was just like hands down, like it's probably not like my favorite movie of all time, but it definitely has my favorite scene of all time, and it's in my favorites for sure.
Fair.
Like I ran the numbers. This is like one of my favorite pieces of media now, because it really sticks with you with that. And that's my yappy take on like how powerful I think that scene is. I'm keen to see how Joe takes it in the future.
I feel like that's one of those scenes where I did not get the chance to see this on IMAX, unfortunately. But after I saw that scene, I was like, okay, I should have seen it on IMAX.
I did say, the only thing I said is like, this movie is incredible. Please watch it on the biggest screen you can find. Because like scenes like that, and also like to talk about music and the vampires for a second. The vampires, there's almost something soothing. You can let go of all your problems. You can join them. But the very, like, fun vampire Irish jig scene shows that, like, oh, you're going to be in a great community, but that's not what you're about. You're performing his culture. You are now forced to, like, celebrate his culture, no longer your own. So that is, like, where the real villainous of Remrick comes from, because he's not, like, that evil of a person as far as, like, a big antagonist monster goes, but, like, what he's doing is taking away a part of yourself in a very fundamental way.
And that's the thing, like you said, there is a sort of draw to joining the vampire collective, but like Sammy, he's like, I don't want to be a part of that. He's like, I get you're saying I could get this community and there's more music out there I could be a part of, but he's like, I don't want that. He's like, I like what I have. I like where I came from. I like the music I play.
Yeah, for sure.
Which also is so cool because, like, getting into Sammy, there's a lot of movies about characters who want a particular life, and they don't listen to the warnings of others, and by the end of the movie they learn, okay, the others were right. Maybe this life isn't what I thought. And I think Sammy is a very good breakaway from that because he gets the warnings from others, he experiences the consequences, and he's like, it was worth it.
Yeah, it was still the best night of his life, he goes on to say. Actually, did not watch the credit scenes. I didn't know there were any, but I looked into it later.
You goofed.
I did. I omega goofed. When I saw it described, I was like, what? What the fuck?
That's like honestly, they shouldn't have put that in the credits.
No, this isn't fucking Marvel. What the hell? What is this?
Yeah, no, that shouldn't have been in the credits.
Yeah.
Also, it was a little weird because it kind of was like, how did these vampires actually survive? Like, did they just find the shadiest tree on the entire planet, or
they don't
jump in
go out
holes?
at daytime, man. They just...
He's never seen the sun.
Wait, no. So you know how at the very end he stabs the main vampire and all the other vampires react the same way that the main vampire does?
Yeah.
Because when you kill the main vampire, you're killing all the other vampires.
Yeah. Also the sun rose.
But also the sun rose, but like at the very end in the end credits, it's like, oh, how did they get away? It shows them like just running around the bend.
So I was
and
confused
it's like,
about that.
oh, so they just ran around the bend, but
Well,
like I guess there's like a
you
Wi-Fi
gotta
range. There's like a
remember-
Bluetooth range on the head vampire's body.
So yes, that, but also Smoke was not outside. He had fought his brother inside, so there's at least that going on.
It showed both of them running away outside.
No, no, I remember Smoke being inside, but maybe I'm wrong. What were you gonna say, brother?
No, you're right. Like he was inside fighting them, but at the very end when it shows like the scene, it shows them like he shows him outside.
I don't know, man.
I feel like there was some line. I could be tripping. I feel like there was some kind of like conversation about how might be some types of beings or vampires that are different from the normal kind.
Yeah, there's daywalkers.
There's also
that's a real vampire thing.
There's the element of the like voodoo charm that protected the brothers,
So,
and I believe he gave him the charm.
I also said that the voodoo charm was what protected him, but there was a pretty good argument that it was just like emotion, emotional power that
power of
protected him.
friendship.
Yeah, because it's like if the brother and the girl or the woman both managed to escape and not feel the pain of the head vampire, it was because they both had emotional reactions beyond what was expected, because both of them showed that. The brother showed restraint, and then the woman showed grief whenever he killed his wife.
Yeah.
So it's like, is that like, honestly, seems kind of phoned in at the end on like what the rules of vampires were doing in this movie.
It's a little
and I'm
funny.
like, dude, vampires fucking follow rules, man.
Okay,
like,
no,
it's
but,
not
okay,
that
no, okay.
hard.
But besides that, this is some of the best vampire rule following I've seen in any fiction. Like the way that they use the "you need to be invited" was super well done. The way that they use like, "Hey, I now have the memories of where your daughter is," and the way that they use that to manipulate the Asian woman inside, like, I really like these vampires, and I really like the main vampire. He's, first of all, the movie is like surprisingly funny, but the main vampire, like how he was abused and lost his culture in the past. Now he's trying to steal Sammy's gift to reclaim that culture. Like, he's not the greatest antagonist of all time, but he's got a lot of sauce, I think. I thought it was really fun.
There's a cool thing at the very beginning of the movie. If you see a lot of the trailers, the director does a cool thing at the very beginning where he does a twist actually within like the first 5 minutes of the movie. And it's when Sammy is invited into the church.
Yes.
And
I was thinking of that because, like, about halfway through, you're like, oh, no. But then you have to remember Sammy was in the sun, so I was going back and forth.
Yep.
Creepy.
It's a good little thing at the tidbit at the very beginning.
The final thing I'll drop is that the main villain was inspired by the main villain of Puss in Boots' Last Wish. So,
nice.
Peak inspires peak.
Wait, hold on. I wanted to say something that maybe will y'all tell me if I'm
canceled.
Yeah, y'all tell me if I'm canceled, okay? Y'all are allowed to at any point.
All right.
As I was watching it, y'all were very cultural, like talking about how vampires are life-sucking and like their like cultural appropriation thematics and things like that. Y'all have seen Get Out, right?
Yes.
And you know how Get Out is like two different genres, depending on like who you are, where you're from.
Sure.
Because it's either a thriller or a comedy,
Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure. Like, there's catharsis for some people, which I definitely indulged in as well. I hopped onto the train.
Yeah, so like, as I was watching it, it was kind of a comedy for me a little bit.
No, it's a funny movie. Cornbread's hilarious.
Yeah, no, I was like, dude, okay, the vampires are not just like he is not just a white, like they show up and they start playing like such folksy music, and it's all right, like
He's
it's a little
faking it.
folky.
He's faking it there.
Yeah, but it's not bad. But then when they get to the real vampire music,
he's going ham.
and it's like, it's not white people music.
It's Irish.
The whitest of white music,
No,
and it's fucking Irish polka dance, river dancing music.
It's so
and
sick.
I'm like, oh, that's so fucked up. Oh, that's so fucked up. It's like, that's whiter than white, man.
But ultimately, like, it's not a, like, oh, white people bad movie. It is very much
it's
like
not. I was
hurt
just
people
like,
hurt people kind of thing, which I like.
I was like, oh man, that's fucked up. He's making them do like the whitest shit possible.
It is though, right? They want you to feel that way, like, ooh, there's nothing, like, this is not right, or like it's not what they want to be doing.
I'm glad y'all mentioned that, because I was really glad at Mary's inclusion as a character. Well, I mean, obviously she's just very important to the twin story, but also I think it would have been really easy for people to point at this movie and just have it be like oh, they obviously just hate white people and don't want them around movie. But Mary's inclusion is, they're like, no, like, we know her, she knows us. Maybe she hasn't gone through the same things we've gone through just because of Jim Crow, but she understands our plight. She has been with us since she's a child. She understands our culture. So
she's half, right? Or I believe that is.
I can't remember, but I don't know. To them, it's more about like what the world is trying to take from them.
She gets some friction for going to the juke joint, so she gets it both ways, I think.
Yeah. Which also, speaking of it going both ways, one note I had was near the beginning of the movie. The Asian couple, they have a store on either side of the street, and one of them is the black-only store and the white-only store.
I didn't even pick up on that the first time.
Oh, wow.
The way they frame it, it's cool. Whenever he calls his wife over from the white store, it's like she's like crossing the veil between two different worlds.
It's a tracking shot from her back, and like it's following her into the other world. Yeah.
Which is like, I guess
this movie
Asian
takes
Americans at that time, like they can kind of be part of both worlds, but they're also part of neither. It's this weird limbo.
I read a thing where like that was actually pretty significant in Mississippi, where this movie takes place. I think where like the Asian culture there was notably like significant in that way, that there's a lot of recordings of that kind of stuff happening.
This movie takes about 30 years before segregation ends, so it's very, very good culturally.
Cool.
Yeah, that's all I have about it. I'm going to post my final take in the chat.
Let's summon Joe back. While Tyler posts some insane shit. And Bradley can start telling us, oh god, I am messing up everything in our channel. What in the hell is the Canticle of Leibowitz?
So I came across this through very interesting circumstances, and it ended up being like the perfect Bradley book. The Canticle of Leibowitz is a 1957 sci-fi book, so it's kind of from a different generation of sci-fi than we're used to. And it's also kind of the case where it's one of those things like Berserk, where it's old enough to where like a lot of people don't realize how much stuff it's actually influenced, and I did not either. But the way I originally found this is about a year ago, and there might be One Piece spoilers in this discussion.
Okay.
About a year ago on the One Piece subreddit, I saw a theory that said that their theory was that Oda read this book and a lot of plot elements are directly based on it.
It was a huge theory, but I remember sharing it. I didn't get to read too much of it.
And it was pretty fucking extensive, and it was convincing enough that it made me read this book. And so I'll start by saying, after reading the book, I don't think Oda read this for a few reasons. Mostly just by chance. I just don't think he read it. But also, I don't think this book has a Japanese translation, and I don't know how good Oda's English is. But even if English is your first language, and even if you grew up in a Western culture, which I think provides some very necessary knowledge for parsing this, even if you have that, it's still kind of a dense book to get through. I once read The King in Yellow, which is like a very early 1900s book, and it is just dense to get through because they just wrote differently, which I got the feeling from this book too. But there are a lot of the stuff that the guy who made the theory, thought might have inspired Oda. A lot of it is just themes that are as old as stories themselves. Like people have been writing about long lost, more advanced civilizations for like 3,000 years.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes the sometimes the similarities are like really spot on, where they'll use like very similar phrases, like how the new generation is going to bring the dawn of the new world. So like, I don't know.
It's if it ain't broke, don't fix it, with that kind of words or that kind of dialogue.
But in general, this book is like just about the eternal struggle between the smartest of us and the people who unfortunately rule us. Basically, in the setting around the 1950s during the Cold War, the world was destroyed. We went into nuclear war. There was fallout. And the story starts around the year 2600, where we are very much in like medieval times. And the book primarily follows an order of monks, Catholic monks, who have preserved some scientific texts from the 20th century, and they do not know what they mean, but they are like, this is the only remnant we have of this highly advanced civilization that came before us. And they have this like religious conviction to make sure that these things survive into the future, and they get tortured and die over this conviction, because most of the world, what survived after nuclear war, the rest of the world was just like, advancement in technology was a mistake. Humans were probably happier when we were cavemen, so all books are burned. Anybody who can read is tortured to death. There is no, like, you have to live like a fucking Neanderthal. And so you basically have the world sparsely populated with these people, and the church who is secretly trying to one day revive humanity. So primarily this book is about the relationship between science itself and Christianity, which was really interesting, because before I read this book, I went online and I saw that this book is like pretty universally praised. I've seen discussions where like atheists are like, every atheist should read this book, and I've seen discussions where they're like, every Catholic needs to read this book. And I found it really weird that a book where the relationship between science and religion is so central is like universally praised by both sides.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in especially in American culture, science and Christianity are just kind of viewed as two realms or two opposite ends of a spectrum that just can't mix. And there's a tiny bit of truth in that, because like science demands extraordinary evidence for extraordinary claims, and Christianity, I think, is ultimately based on faith. Like science is based on the study of the natural world, and there's no test you can run over and over and get the same result every time to prove the validity of Christianity, which, like, I don't believe in Christianity, but I'm not saying that means it's not true. I don't think it's an attack. I just think it means there's no test you can run over and over that conclusively proves whether it's true. Mm-hmm. If you believe it, you're ultimately believing it on faith, which is what a lot of theologians believe too. But like, the guy who wrote this book was living in mid-20th century America, and the brand of Christianity we have in America is like almost explicitly anti-science, which hasn't always been the case for every denomination throughout Christianity's history. Because like, Christianity does not have to be anti-science. And anti-science and unscientific are two different things. Unscientific just means you can't prove it. Anti-science means like you fundamentally reject studying the world and any like
which
finding
is becoming an increasing the worrisome mindset.
Yeah. Like, I grew up in a town where there is a alarming amount of people who genuinely believe dinosaurs never existed. Their bones were planted in the earth by the devil.
They're artifacts, bro, to trick you.
Yeah, like, there's enough, where I grew up, there is enough people who believe that it's not surprising when you run into that.
I've heard that as well.
But then, like, as I grew up and I learned more about the history of both science and Christianity, I've learned, like, at different times in history, there's been times where the church has been very beneficial to the pursuit of science, and obviously times where it was very much not. Because, like, there's been times where scientific discoveries were primarily driven by either Christians or Muslims, because to them, at their particular point in time, they're like, this is God's world. Like, what could be more noble than trying to accurately understand how a thing only God could make works?
So interesting in comparison.
But then there's like the flip side with like Galileo, where he's like, oh, well, the earth is round, and the Catholic Church is like, oh, well, we're gonna kill you. So I like the author of this book was in a weird place where I think he's trying to convey that like anti-science behavior isn't an inherent property of Christianity. I think a running theme of this book is that shitty people are just gonna be shitty people, and they're going to excuse their behavior with whatever belief system they have. This book is full of like very good people who are non-believers and believers, and very shitty people who are believers and non-believers. So I don't know. I thought it was really interesting. It spans like 1,000 years. It starts at 2600. We're kind of in medieval times, and it mostly just follows these people trying to preserve these texts. And then we jump forward like 500 years, and probably like my favorite moment in the book is whenever they are able to actually invent a light bulb, and it just takes their breath away. And then a few pages after that, we've already advanced past where we are now. Like, we're in the space, like we're colonizing planets and stuff. Let's see what else. Oh my god, this is a funny book. I feel like the post-apocalyptic wasteland, I feel like, was a big inspiration for the Fallout series, like 50 years before it came out. And this book actually is fucking hilarious. There's this one part near the beginning where they come across a Fallout shelter, and it's like occupancy 15. And this guy doesn't know what Fallout is, because he also doesn't know what nuclear weapons are. He just knows the Earth burned 600 years ago. But he's heard that something called Fallout caused the world to be like this, and the wastelands to be scorched, and for people to be born deformed. So he just thinks Fallouts are like big lizard demon monsters. So he reads Fallout Shelter Occupancy 15, and he's like, there's 15 Fallouts in there? I better keep my ass out here. Or like there's a later part where like this guy and this hermit are getting water from a stream, and this hermit's filling his canteen, and the guy's like, holy shit, like that water is so dirty. I can see the dirt. I can see shit swimming in the water. I can't believe he's gonna drink that. And the hermit is like, hey, you want some water? And the guy's like, well, I mean, I don't want to be rude. And he takes a swig. And the hermit's like, damn, you're not picky. I'd never drink that shit myself. This is for my goats. So I don't know. It's hold on, I'm looking through my notes. I think I don't know. It's just a really interesting relationship between religion and science, and seeing how the two play off each other, especially during the middle portion of the book where like the society's kind of advanced to a point again where people are allowed to start learning about science again and be literate. And basically the smartest dude in the world, he's like Einstein on steroids, comes to this church where they've preserved all these documents for like 1,000 years from the civilization that came before. And the super smart dude, the Einstein guy, he's learning about all of it. And he's able to actually kind of like get a feel for what electricity is. And all the monks at the church are like, dude, we've been preserving these documents for 1,000 years. Like, can you like, I don't know, like get us all, like round us all up and just like tell us what you found? And he's actually kind of horrified at the thought of doing it, because he's like, I don't want to say something that like offends your religion, and I don't want you guys to stone me to death or anything. Because he's like, I don't know, what if it just doesn't fit your worldview? And all the people at the church are like, dude, we're the #1 people in the world who want to hear what you have to say. Like, we've been guarding these documents for 1,000 years. And he's like, well, I just ran into a lot of trouble back home because I was talking about the refraction of light and how, you know, you can shine it through a piece of glass and it turns into all these colors. And he got into an argument with this religious dude almost violently, because the religious dude was like, light couldn't reflect until the great flood happened. And he's like, yes, it could. Light has always behaved the same way. And he's like, no, rainbows didn't happen until the great flood, so light couldn't always do that. And all the monks at this church are like, no, that's not how it works. Not every passage is meant to be taken literally, which I think is another big difference between the American brand of Christianity and like the more historical kind. Because we've had a lot of popes believe in things like evolution, right? Generally, I feel like at least our more recent popes are of the opinion, if you have evidence right in front of you that you can see with your own eyes and it contradicts a biblical passage, that biblical passage probably was not meant to be taken literally. It's probably an allegory.
A convenient sidestep.
I prefer that sidestep over
Yeah.
like this American brand we have, which is like, if you can see something in front of you with your own eyes and it contradicts a passage,
Don't believe it.
your eyes are obviously lying to you. So I don't know. It does have a lot of parallels to One Piece in terms of like, you know, this fallen civilization and trying to preserve this knowledge with like poneglyphs, and I don't know. This was a very Bradley book.
How old is this again?
It was from 1957.
Okay, not as old as I thought. Yeah, I mean, it's been influenced by a lot and has influenced stuff since then, because it's like 1950s is like recent enough to have many influences of like fallen civilizations and flow of information changing and all that.
So I really liked it.
It's crazy going back to like hear about books and read books like that, like from 70 years ago, and you're like, God damn, like how is this still so relevant?
Yes.
Oh, dude, no, it's so relevant because whenever it gets to like the third third of the book, where we're kind of like back more in, we're like in the near future times, like it's mostly the same as what we experience now, except like we have a Mars base and stuff. And at this point, people have rediscovered how to make nuclear weapons, which is a big no-no because everybody on Earth is aware that things used to be better and the whole world got wiped out by nuclear weapons. And so you have this press conference where all these people are accusing the president of what is right now the United States. They're like, you've been testing nuclear weapons. I can't believe you're fucking doing this. And they're like, our administration hasn't been doing that. As you know, it's illegal to make and test nuclear weapons. And they're like, okay, but like, our seismographs can feel the earthquakes coming from your testing zones. Every city downwind from your testing zones, we were getting radioactive material. Like, we have proof you're doing it. And all the heads of state are just like, no, we're not doing it. And I'm like, I don't know, the way they go about these press conferences feels like something that happens today.
Yikes.
Bradley, I don't know if you remember, but I think it was a few talks, like maybe last podcast, I talked about the existential crisis I had when I went to a museum, and I was like, if civilization has ever been wiped out, why would they leave any knowledge of what wiped out their civilization?
Wait, when did this come
here's
up?
the thing.
Well, oh, it was One Piece. We're talking about
Yeah,
One
it
Piece,
wasn't
okay.
that long ago, but
Yeah.
the problem is physics are going to be the same no matter what. Someone will rediscover how to make them. They just will. Which is sad.
There's just some storylines that are ever present in life and fiction.
Did you enjoy this book, Bradley, because of its comedic value or its contextual value to current day?
Both, honestly. I thought it was fantastic. And
Wow.
I think one of my favorite parts of the book, I don't have that much more to say about it. We'll move on in a sec. I think one of my favorite parts of the book is when that like super smart Einstein guy is talking to the people at the church. And I think he explains like just the concept of what science is in a very like religious lens, where they're trying to verify the date of these documents, because all the people at the church are like, oh, we've been holding on to them for 1,000 years. And this super smart guy, they call him the Thon. He's been revolutionizing all of these fields of science, but even he doesn't believe most of the stuff from our era exists. He's like, maybe there was a thing such as electricity, but I don't believe they could have made machines that could do thinking or display pictures with it. He's like, that's just preposterous. So he doesn't necessarily believe these documents are real, and he's trying to date them by doing things like they're measuring like how much the stone of the steps in the abbey have been worn down over time to see like, okay, are you guys right? Have y'all been holding it on to 1,000 years, or were these steps only built 300 years ago? And the monks are like, we have the architectural records, like, just trust us. And he's like, we don't trust anything. He's like, we worship essentially the god of nature. There's like these primitives in the story who believe in this nature god, and they have a saying that the god of nature cannot lie because it does not have a mouth. And I think essentially what that means is like, people can lie and people can be mistaken, but if you're lying or mistaken, the real world still is what it is. So they're like, I know you're probably telling the truth, but what if those documents were forged by someone 400 years ago? Or what if they, like, I don't know. It was just a really cool way to explain, like, you don't have to take people's word for it. In any case, this was a very good book. I don't know if I'd recommend it to any of y'all, but it was kind of funny to find this off of a One Piece theory.
This actually sounds pretty interesting to me.
It's pretty fucking interesting, and I think it's funny, but when I was reading it, I had the feeling this book would suck as an audiobook, and I got that same sentiment online, because there are some portions where there will be like half a page of Latin, and I don't think the author actually expects you to be able to read Latin. Whenever the Latin happens, you're just supposed to be like, okay, this is just some Catholic stuff I don't understand, unless you can understand Latin. But so like normally whenever there's a half page of Latin in a row, you can just kind of gloss over it. But in the audiobook, people are like, I don't want to listen to Latin for a straight minute.
Joe, step in and tell me what these Catholics are saying. You're the only one who's equipped to do so.
They're saying, eat your cracker, stand up, kneel, stand up, then drink your little plastic pouch of wine.
Domine Sanctus, something.
Unfortunately, I had to help my mother plan a bunch of things, so I missed that entire conversation, which was unfortunate.
Catholics exist. That's the joke.
Yeah, they always will.
If you enjoyed mid 20th century exposition about the downfall of humanity and current geopolitics that never change, there's another book you might be interested in.
The Road.
It's one I started reading that if somebody else were to read it with me, it might help me get through it all. But it's like coming from a background of studying architecture and urban landscape and urban environmental design, it's a little existentialist, but it's called The Death of the Modern American City.
I think I've heard that title.
There's a slight spoiler for it. You start reading the book, and I'm like, oh my god, we're talking about prose and everything, and it's like, oh, this is so spoken so well, it sounds so contemporary. Have y'all seen Arrested Development?
Yeah,
a little bit.
If you watch that show, like now, you're like the way it's written, it still sounds like so relevant until they pull out a flip phone and you're like, holy fuck, this show was made in 2003. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's how I felt reading the Death of the Modern American Cities. So keep it on your radar, Bradley. It's
Yes, sir.
Joe,
if you want a book club.
Joe and I have a joke related to Metal Gear Solid 2, pressing it to everything we would talk about, where we go 2001 gaming, because that game has stood the test of time thematically in ways that are too horrifying to think about.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well,
I guess the only other thing I want to hit, this book's split into 3 sections. I just want to give an overview of the 3 main characters and kind of what they go through, because they have very different experiences. When I say quickly, I mean very quickly. The first character is a monk named Francis, and his entire third of the book is just kind of his journey of trying to preserve these documents for, in case the world ever comes back from medieval times again. He just preserves these documents. His story kind of skips like 10 years at a time as he's working on either transporting or copying documents, and he ends up dying very horribly, but like everyone in the setting after him owes everything to the fact that he was able to preserve and deliver these documents. In the middle section of the book, it's the abbot, of this abbey, and he has this very weird experience where he's like been defending like this trove of scientific knowledge from the 20th century for over 1,000 years now. And he's reaching this point where after that first light bulb is invented and it's clear we're about to skyrocket back into modern times again, straight from the Dark Ages, he has this interesting moment where he's like, for 1,000 years, this abbey might have been the most important place on the earth, but he's like, we're about to suddenly fade from relevance. He's like, people of the world, scientists, people who are not aligned with the church made these documents, and at the time they were probably the most important people in the world. And he's like, the church became the most important place in the world during these dark ages when we're preserving it. And after he does this handoff of the documents to the scientists, he has this like existential moment where he's like, what becomes of us? He's like, do we just disappear? He's like, these documents were made by people of the world, and they're going back to people of the world where they belong, and they're going to do great things with them, and those great things are probably not going to be things the church agrees with. So he has like kind of a fun existential story, and then I feel like the church actually kind of takes a backseat more in the third of the story, where it's like the church is portrayed much more positively in the first 2/3, and in the last portion, a nuclear bomb drops and people are exposed to radiation and shit, and we have this abbot who he's trying to house a bunch of people who have been exposed to this nuclear blast, and they just have radiation poisoning, and they're throwing up, and their hair is falling out, and they're bleeding out of their eye sockets, and there's just no hope for them. And the government comes by with all their doctors, and they're able to treat some people, and other people they're like, you're just a lost cause. But they have like these euthanasia camps, and they're like, people who've been exposed to a certain amount of radiation, like if you're throwing up your guts, there's no help for you, there's no reason to suffer. And so there's this mom and this little girl who they're just a lost cause, and this abbot is like guilting them into not doing the euthanasia even though the mom really wants to. Because he's like, you will go to hell if you do the euthanasia. Like, it's a sin. Suicide is not okay. And they end up dying horrible deaths. And shortly after, he gets caught in a nuclear blast, and he's caught under this stone. And the book ends with basically him sitting there. And he, like, won't let himself die. He feels so much guilt over the fact he made them continue living through their suffering, and he won't let himself die until he's felt the same amount of suffering he made the little girl feel, which is kind of metal as fuck, even though you don't like the guy. But I don't know. That's the 3 main characters. I thought it was a very good book. Don't read it unless you want to be spoiled on One Piece.
All right, noted. Okay. There it is. Sorry, I had to find the time that we're at. A little game came out called Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Maybe you heard of it. Maybe
World's
Oh my
smallest
God.
game.
I've heard it's life-changing.
I feel like this came out of nowhere. I didn't hear about it before it came out, and after it came out, it's all I hear about.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like me and Willow were very much aware of this game.
Yeah,
like,
we were locked in, and it turned out even better than expected. I was like, oh, this looks cool, till like, oh no, this is like one of the best games ever. Not just my admission, like people are die hard about this game. I'll get into the reception of this game a little later, but it's getting like critical levels, like BG3 levels of like, this is people's everything now.
Yeah.
But Joe has played less than me, so I would like to hear his takes. We're not going to get into spoilers in the hopes that at least another one of you like gets through the end of this game.
Started it.
You're about to go you're about to travel out of town this weekend, and I know what the Tyler rule is, so we'll see what happens.
We
I
know how this goes.
started it last week, and I play it about every other day a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's not that long unless you get sucked into the side content like I did, and even then it's not that long.
Yeah, I'm at the point where like it was very clear, like, oh, we do a thing, and then we do a thing, and then we get to the end of the game. I think.
Yeah.
Unless there's...
Spoiler free, Joe. Oh no. where did you leave off? Not at the end of Act 2 yet.
I fought in front of a house.
I'll step away.
No, we're not saying you don't go anywhere. Okay, let's talk about what this game is.
I don't even know what this game is, so I'm gonna step away.
You've played the tutorial.
I don't know anything else about it.
That's all we're gonna talk about in detail. Listen,
Just the tutorial.
you saw the gommage that we're gonna tell.
The what?
The gommage. It's
literally. That was a word that they said a bunch, but I don't know what that is.
Well, you saw what happened.
God.
Like,
Yeah.
I know your critical thinking skills are not zero. You like.
A bunch of people. They invented a word, and then a bunch of people got Thanos snapped, and they expected me to understand.
Yeah, the
that.
French invaded the word for the erasure, which is an
Gommage? Is that word mean erasure?
Yeah. So this
It's not in my vocabulary.
This is a setting where these people live in front of this giant number in this like islandish town, and that number counts down every year. And every time it counts down, people of that age or greater disappear. They get Thanos snapped.
I didn't put that one together.
What the fuck? The number went from 34 to 33. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, no,
ages all the time. Like they literally explicitly mentioned that character.
You're killing me, dog. You're killing me.
Yo, I just did the tutorial. Nowhere does it mention like, oh yeah, when you turn 34, everybody's gonna die this year.
I literally pieced that together from just what was happening, but I get it. It's fine. Well,
I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt that I'm like, okay, what are you telling me about these? Dude, I try to be dumb and I'm not overthinking things, and they just don't explain.
Oh, I respect it. It's let the story come to you. They'll explain it in the next few lines of dialogue that you see. I guess I'm guessing.
Probably.
Yeah. And basically, when your year's coming up, you have a choice. You stay in town and wait for your gommage, or you go on the next expedition.
See, and that's where I'm confused. I'm like, okay, are these people the same age? Like, how do you not get Thanos snapped? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's age based. So basically, yeah, you got to the point where you're talking to your expedition mates, right, Tyler? Like that's where you left off.
No, I had to go to bed. I literally got to the expedition group. I got to the expedition area.
Literally what I'm asking.
I'm about to talk to all of my mates.
Okay, but all I'm saying is everyone there is around your age. Most likely they're going to die next gommage. That's how they do it. Which also means this world has a decay. If you do the math, every year someone gets older and that number goes down. So 2 years worth of people disappear, which means in like about 15 years you're going to be sending teenagers. Not even. In about 8 years, you're gonna have to be sending in teenagers to fix this issue of like trying to stop the gommage. So there's a very doomed vibe to this world, and it's a turn-based RPG inspired by a lot of great games, and it also has a ton of action like inputs and timing, dodges and parries and jumps, and this is the thing that I think Bradley would immediately latch onto because I know he likes action-based RPGs.
Yeah.
But like, and I knew like Joe would like it, but I feel like Joe and Tyler would enjoy another aspect, which is Joe. Correct me, like, follow me here, like, let me know if you agree. Mm-hmm. This game is more board game than it is JRPG. Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Well, fuck me.
I see what you're coming from, but I don't agree. Like at all.
At all? You're I'm about to explode. If anyone was to understand me, it would have been Joe. So now I'm just angry. I had a whole talk. I got nothing. Let's move on to the next topic. How is it? Like, look at what abilities usually do in an RPG. Like a Persona or a Final Fantasy and a Trails. That's not what your abilities do in Clair Obscur. They do like Darkest Dungeon 2 tokenization of like apply mark and apply
another turn-based RPG you've described.
Yeah.
But that is leaning more to not JRPG mechanics but board game mechanics. Like JRPGs have
why?
Because they're very tokenized and not like the way a JRPG works is like skills have elements and a couple of side effects, and it's really stat heavy. Your numbers are really big. It's all about hitting weaknesses. That's not really what Clair Obscur is. Clair Obscur is about.
Willa never played one of the most successful JRPGs of all time.
Okay, that is not. Did you just say Slay the Spire is a JRPG?
It's turn-based action game with spells and skills, man.
That's not a JRPG. Oh my fucking! Why am I having this conversation with people that don't even know what I'm talking about? Stop triggering me on purpose. Maybe you should leave.
I see where you're
okay, but
coming
like
from.
where Clair Obscur changes that is that like characters have like it literally feels like you put down a Spirit Island board where my character applies burn tokens and your character consumes the burn tokens to enter their virtuous stance. And like that's not how JRPGs work. Like on a base level, characters don't have like subsystems like that, nor do skills have this level of tokenization. And also defensively, you die in like 3 hits to most enemies. So it also doesn't have like the high number tankiness like survive and heal. Like consistently healing is very often not a strategy while that is like a default in every JRPG party you've ever made. So like for a lot of levels, I think this is more like a board game Sekiro than it is like a Final Fantasy Persona metaphor. Anything.
I just know the main well, there's a lot of stuff people like about this game, but one of the main things I've heard people like about this game is just like it is just a refreshing spin on turn-based RPGs.
Yeah.
It is very refreshing. I will say that. I think like the biggest thing that Willer is trying to say when it comes to board games is that it's very engine building focused. Like you are trying to essentially like combo off of your characters to do specific things, specific orders, in order to get them enough power, get them to a point where they can just easily grind through things. I think it is inspired a lot by a lot of those mechanics. I wouldn't say that's. I still say like it's more JRPG than anything. In terms of
like the way.
I like the
Tyler, you've done one fight. You've literally done the mild tutorial.
The way you describe it, like where you have one character applies item like element A or item A or status A,
they're literally
and
tokens.
then that allows another character to come in their alternate form and do another big hit. I'm like, I think I was doing that in Persona. Like, it's much more on the nose in Persona, where it's thunder element, you hit weakness.
This is exactly what I'm saying. That is not what this game is at all.
No.
Okay.
It's more akin to Darkest Dungeon, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
Like the way that all that.
And Darkest Dungeon is not really a JRPG. It's pretty close to a board game. You're applying poison token for 2 turns. Like it's just not the same, all right? I've played a lot of JRPGs, especially like the last few years. I've been going on a journey, so I don't know. We got into this. Tyler, we'll see how you feel.
Would you say it's like an FRPG?
It is a JRPG where the J has an apostrophe.
No, it's a
JRPG. And I like this genre. I'm just saying it's very different. Like I said, like
buckets.
That aside, I really like the gameplay, and the build customization in this is insane. Every Pictos and Lumina you find can completely change. Like, you can find one thing, and it'll spark something in your mind that gets you to completely change a character. And thankfully, they give you a lot of tools to respec your characters, like, throughout the game.
Yeah. It's actually, the game is like actually very lenient when it comes to like respecting your characters. Like it, which I kind of like, especially with this system, because it's like you're going to like fuck up something very easily, with whether it's stat attribution or like spending Lumina to up someone's Pictos score by too much and realizing this other person needs it. There's a lot of like moving parts.
Yeah, for sure. How are you liking the gameplay and combat, Joe? And what difficulty are you on?
I'm on the highest difficulty.
Okay, same.
Yeah.
Should I do the highest difficulty as well?
Yeah, you absolutely should, Bradley, because it really emphasizes the action. Well, it's interesting. The main path of the story is like strategic and JRPG focused, but the side content is pure Sekiro. So it's like I think you'll enjoy the hardest difficulty.
That part of it is like my one major complaint.
It's a little frustrating, and I completely agree.
Especially when like you go up against a boss that is a multi-stage boss that has some crazy ass attacks, and God forbid you didn't play the game before.
Blank used vanish.
Yeah, it's like
I love that shit. Like it has a lot of Souls influence because you're just gonna get butt stomped by some of the boss's moves and have to learn. But I will say, Joe, eventually when your build gets online, you do get to a point where you can start comfortably doing the side content on the hard difficulty. But at the start, I was bumping down to normal to do some of the side bosses that are clearly like all parry focused, where I'm like, at this point, the elements of this game I'm most into are not present, so let me just bump it down a little bit. And you can do that on your own freedom, which I think alleviates that issue. So a big part of this game is dodges are easier to do than parries, but on its on its base level, a dodge doesn't get you as much reward. A perfect dodge is harder to do than a parry. So there's like a sandwich of like easy dodge, parry, perfect dodge. Yeah. But you have to equip a Picto to get any reward from doing a perfect dodge. So like it's a one-cost Picto, so you should have it on everyone. But you can only get that once per turn. So if you need to build up AP, you gotta start going for the parries, which are riskier, and you don't have the safety net of like I can go for a perfect dodge, but if I fuck it up, I'm still probably gonna get a dodge. So a lot of the fights have this good flow of like dodge at the start finding like attacks you're comfortable doing full parries on, and then parry those because you get huge rewards for getting the parries. There's some other systems thrown into that throughout the mix, but that's the basic loop. But I'm with you, Joe. Of like the actiony stuff is like a little fucky at first.
It's. I think I would feel less fucky about it if it wasn't just down to like those bosses are hard, like especially on the story where it's just like, okay, Gabe, give me something. Like, and I think like the other thing is like the run back, right? Like the boss run back, like in a Souls game, where like, oh, I died, I have to go back to the boss. And like a lot of Elden Ring and Dark Souls and stuff, they have like really kind of like, I wouldn't say like removed, but they have minimized the frustration of like that run back once you've like gotten to the boss once. And like, I'm not saying it's that bad here, but like it definitely gets annoying where it's like, okay, I'm walking into this arena, I now have to do the 5-second walk that I cannot skip until the cutscene starts, and then the cutscene has to load in, and then I have to like, it's just like very small things that like make me wish I could like restart the battle quicker.
Yeah, all you can do is reload the save from the battle screen, but you can't. A restart button would be greatly appreciated, particularly in the boss that Joe is still on, I believe.
I beat him.
Okay, that boss has an attack where if you get hit by that early, you just need to reset. It's like, very punishing.
It's peak. It's very funny. It's peak, but it's also like, okay.
Joe, do the word axons mean anything to you, or I'm trying to
again?
axon or axion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that what you're doing next, or have you already done that?
Yes. That's what I need to do next.
Cool. That's fantastic stuff. So I did write here as a positive note, the game doesn't give you much exposition, you just have to keep up. We just saw Tyler be victim of that, but I do think it's a strength of the game. Because you do get it. Like, eventually,
I don't hate it, I'm just telling you what I know so far.
I know. And there's something that, like, really hits near the end, where, like, as you make your way through this world, you find, like, checkpoint flags, and, like, handholds, and ropes and stuff. And, like, it's not until like later in the game where it clicked on me, it's like, this is the work of the previous expedition. So there's this theme of like climbing on the corpse of what came before you to reach that end goal. And I think it really builds up on itself. The thing about this game that really seals the deal is I think the story is really fucking good. It's like one of my favorite video game stories of all time. Joe, how are you doing with the story right now? I know you've hit like one really big moment as like not too long ago, but like where are you vibing with it so far, and the characters as well?
I'm liking the story. I am not saying I'm being like blown away or changed by this story. I think it's very well done. I think it's very well written and directed, and like I think the characters are really great. But it's also like it's kind of like the thing of like, this is not God's gift to Earth to me. It's very, very good. I think it's really good. I think it's a great, like,
yep. That's where I was. Just keep on keeping on, buddy. Act
That's
3, fun. Act 3 moves mountains. I'll just say that. It has some of the best characters, protagonists, antagonists of any game ever. I will say, some of the side characters don't get that much focus. It is critically vital, Joe, before you beat the final boss, do all the party member side quests. It's kind of fucked up. The game is scaled for you to do them anyways. It should be mandatory, is what I'm saying. It's not only is it vital to close out those character story arcs, but like it's also like by the time you get to the point where you can go do the final boss, it's like one thing away you have to do for every party member. So it's like it should have just been optional, to be honest. But particularly the characters of Verso and Mael are like S+ tier, like, oh my god, I will get into it in the future, but I really, really love where the story goes, and it has one of the best ending conflicts of any game I've ever played. We'll talk more about that in the future. My last question before we close this out, Joe, I have a couple questions. Who's in your party? Yeah. How are you building your stats? And how are you building your skills in Pictos?
I kind of rotate through everyone.
Same.
I just got the last party member.
That party member's gimmick is my favorite gimmick traditionally in any JRPG. I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
It is my favorite class of RPG character. So
I really like that it's also very easy to do. Like sometimes those classes are very convoluted. I'm like, all right, you have to do this, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, like to do blue maging in Final Fantasy V, I had to solve mini puzzles to get the enemies to do certain moves. But here it's very simple, so that's cool.
Yeah. So I've been rotating everyone. I don't know. I'm kind of focusing right now. I'm still kind of weirdly in the stage of I'm just kind of throwing things and trying things. I don't have a solid game plan yet of how I want everyone to operate with itself. This is the other thing too, is that I feel like there's such a heavy swing of if you can just parry the attacks, you're pretty much just gonna win the fight, right?
Yeah.
So it's in
this game there is no block, there is no taking damage. You either dodge or parry or just take the hit. There's no good. I mean, you can give yourself buffs and shields and stuff as damage mitigation.
Yeah.
I will say, the point of strategy in this game is to minimize the amount of parrying you need to do to give you safety nets and do good DPS to make sure that you can survive the onslaught, because you will if you're perfect at parrying, you will trivialize everything, but no one's going to be perfect at parrying their first time. It's very hard. The enemy attack patterns are incredibly fucked up.
Yeah, they're fucked up.
They're very mean.
So really right now is I'm just trying to focus on Pictos that can increase my AP. I think that's what it's called, the AP gain that I'm getting. And then I have some other rotations, Mael does a lot of burn stuff. Lune, what am I doing with Lune? Is very much applying debuffs a little bit and doing some massive damage, which
interesting. You got the shot debuffs on her, I guess.
Yeah, and as well as being having 3 electric up and just being the revive, because oh god, someone died. Okay, well I
never unlocked. That's the one skill I never unlocked for her. It's interesting.
It's very handy.
It's I went down the bottom right of her tree into the ice portion, and then expanded from there, and I really liked that what that gave her.
The one thing I think about to me is that the UI, at least on my TV, is way too small. I don't know what it is.
I didn't have that issue at all.
It's it's just a little bit too far away and spread out, and it's really hard to me to piece the puzzles together. I think that's the one issue I'm having when trying to get everyone done. And then Verso, man, that mechanic is really cool. It's very funny.
The inspiration is so on the sleeve. It's
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. Gustav is simple and effective.
Simple, effective.
Uh,
CL
yeah.
took me a while to wrap my head around.
I really like CLs,
But
actually.
my endgame CL was... I mean, my L is the strongest character in the game by like a country mile, but my endgame CL was rivaling.
That's so funny you say that, because my team lead also played Expedition 33, and I was talking to him about it.
Oh, cool.
And he basically was just like, yeah, I got Lune to a point where she took 2 turns and wiped the whole screen.
Sick. Like...
Yeah.
Every character can become grossly overpowered once you sit in that screen and solve the puzzle, and it's really satisfying to do so. But there are some hard ass enemies in the post game and in Act 3, so it's like the thing is, we'll talk more about Act 3 when you get to it, but I do think the game balance is a little whack over there, where it's super easy to get overpowered. Like there was a skill that was nerfed. I only got to play with the skill one day pre-nerf. The fact that they shipped that skill pre-nerfed means that no one tested it. Like, we'll talk about that one day. But
Is this can I get that now, or could I have gotten that
it is
now,
at the
or-
top of my L's tree. I believe it's probably locked right now for you.
Okay.
There's like 3 skills she has up there that are all incredibly powerful, but one called Stendhal in particular is just like jaw-droppingly probably the most busted skill I've ever used in an RPG.
Okay. Interesting.
And even post-nerf, it's the best skill in the game, but it's just
I'll have
like
to double
not
check to see
ridiculously.
what that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also have the kind of like ultimate mechanic, or the ult mechanic that they introduce.
That one flows into combat really well, I will say. Like once you, I had my Lune as a Giga Charger for that for a lot of my Act 3, where like she was creating so much of that resource every turn. And then that final party member you got gets a second gradient that just applies regen and shield to everyone, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna loop this and live forever. Like, no amount of enemy aggression can get through this unless like it's really really tough enemies or enemies that burn you, because it'll bust through. So really cool stuff. Are you enjoying the game, Joe?
I
No.
am.
Oh, he hates it.
Yeah.
I am enjoying it.
Cool.
So I'm gonna give my opinion after playing only an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got really too much in the combat. It's literally just the plot and exposition is all that I've gotten. The game is a little jarring visually.
Make sure to play on frame rate mode.
Well, I'm playing on my PC because I don't have any other way to play it.
All right.
Because it's free for me to do so. Hopefully I'll have a better way to... I'm going to try playing on one of my more powerful PCs. I'll switch over to that. I just don't have like a very high like OLED monitor or anything to like see it better. But it's like... I mean, it's all I have to go on, you know, so far. I really haven't gotten to the plot or the meat or the game yet. But like, it looks like the 3D artist, the VFX artist, and the UI artist didn't really like corroborate on a cohesive style for the game.
I'm with you with the UI. I do think this game starts looking pretty gorgeous once you get into like the dome itself. There's some really nice art direction, but I'm with you. Like when you're in Lumiere, things are looking a little weird there at the start, especially with the Uncanny Valley a little bit with some of the character models at the start.
It hasn't got to like the good part, I guess, yet. Like one of my first reactions was, wow, these people are supposed to look so realistic. Damn, that girl's head is huge. Like, what the fuck? Like, why is her head so big?
I think that's another thing too, is that like I was mentioning this to my coworker, but like basically like people move, but they're not like standing still. They have like the small like sways that like people have when they're standing around. And it's kind of freaky looking, and you gotta get used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, relatively small team here. They had a pretty good budget, I assume, because the director has a ton of money. But it is like just a small team of passionate actors. Ben Starr, my beloved voice of Clive from Final Fantasy 16 and Verso in this game. I just love him. And apparently, Shadowheart is the voice of Mael, and I can definitely hear it.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
But yeah, cool. We can reconvene on this a little bit more. I really hope Bradley checks this out. And
I'm gonna like it. This seems like the game to play this year.
Yeah, the reception of this game is like all across the boards. Every single day, this is a game where people will say, "Oh, this game has ruined every other RPG for me ever." Like this is a constant stream, and like it's to the point where I'm seeing people like, "I'm going to crash out," and like this is a little over-exaggerated, but like commit genocide if this doesn't win Game of the Year at the Game Awards. Like people are going crazy for this.
It's another Baldur's Gate 3 situation for the RPG scene.
Absolutely.
It's like
this is a genre ruiner for a lot of people, and I totally get where they're coming from. I this is one of my favorite games, but like I'm not going that crazy. Like but like
I also want to mention, this may or may not sway your choice, Bradley, but so my coworker that I was talking about, we went on a business trip to Ohio, and he has a Steam Deck, and he's like, "Man, I hope this plays well on the Steam Deck." We got to play. He's like, "This game is fucking great on Steam Deck. It's so good." Like,
I'm shocked. Okay, I was expecting that to go a different way.
No, he was like, "It's flawless." He said.
Hey, Bradley.
Yes.
If it might sway you even more, save yourself $54 and use your code to just play this for free on your work computer.
I don't want to play it on my computer though. I want to play it on my PlayStation or my.
Yeah,
TV.
I also want to play it on something, but it's free.
No, give the studio
It's
money.
worth-
They
to me, it's
made
worth
art.
the money to not have to sit at my
Dude,
computer.
this is a Nepo studio, Willer. Stop.
This Nepo studio has like a bunch of really passionate people, and guess what? If I had that guy's money, I would do the exact same thing. He's living my dream. Do you know what his favorite games are, by the way? In order: Persona 3, Final Fantasy 8, Devil May Cry. Those are the main inspirations for this game.
Kirby's based.
So he's literally me with money.
I never played Final Fantasy 8.
It's 8 is really good. It's very controversial.
That's the one with the summoning, right?
Yeah, there's a
That's
lot
the
of
one
summoning.
with
What?
Leon.
I mean, they all have summoning, but that one, you summon.
Like that's the one
GFs.
that's like mainly about summoning.
10 is 2, I guess, but 8 is maybe more.
I thought 8 was like the summoning tournament arc.
No, that's.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
In 8, you had to fight the moon.
no, that's
Okay,
4.
Yeah, but that's like that's 4. I played that one. I'm like, I fought the moon.
Okay, all right. You take the moon and you take the sun, and we try to end this podcast. We all watched Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt asterisk. Sorry.
Yeah. I didn't watch Thunderbolts.
Yeah, sorry. We all.
I didn't watch it, but I've heard this is a pretty uncommon W for Marvel nowadays. Like, everyone I know who's watched it actually kind of liked it.
Yeah.
This movie is about fighting depression.
It is. It's also about fighting furniture. They fight a lot of furniture.
Yeah. They do fight a lot of furniture.
That is literally
They do fight a lot.
33% of the action scenes.
But
Joe,
you know what? It was fun.
Joe gave this a 9 out of 10. Joe, what do you love about this movie? That's a big score.
Yeah, I know. I still kind of stand by it. Like, I was really thinking about it, but like, I really like Florence Pugh and Yelena. I think she's a standout. I really like Bob. I really like kind of like this camaraderie. I really like the climax a lot of this movie too. And like I heard kind of like what the climax was, and it's just like I don't know like how much I'm going to enjoy that, but I think it was really well done here. I think the comedy was very good. I think there's a sense of purpose of its like gray color scaling as well that I really liked, especially in like that first fight scene with Yelena. She talks about like how she has a void in her like soul, and like it's an overhead view and everything's in shadows and it gets darker and darker as she goes down this hallway. I really like that. I don't know, like it was just it kind of like made me feel good, and it gave me a sense of like these are like something from Marvel I hadn't felt in a long time, which is why I really really liked it. And I think it was just I think the chemistry of the cast was also really good in my opinion. Those are all the things I have. Like it's yeah, that's it. I don't think it's groundbreaking, but it's also like, yes, I really like this movie.
I might
Tyler?
be depressed or just too busy.
How did you feel?
I think I kind of felt nothing. I kind of felt like Bob, you know.
Yeah, Avoid.
Yeah.
I don't like this movie.
Damn, that's crazy.
This feels like this year's like Bullet Train, where everyone around me really liked it, and then I go see it with a group, and we all walk away feeling nothing. Everything this movie did was so underbaked, and like, this is why I was asking the other day. It's like, so have y'all been keeping up with Marvel projects? And it seems like people have, and maybe that's why people like this movie so much. It's like, maybe the expectations are low enough to where like this was so groundbreaking. But man, because I've been kind of removed from Marvel, I kind of came in with this really optimistic based on what people were saying, and like, this doesn't even rank in my upper half of Marvel movies. I think, like, I'm trying to think what tier I'd put this in. It's maybe like Black Panther 1-ish tier, like maybe a little bit above Ant-Man, but Ant-Man does what it needs to do a little better than this does, in my opinion.
I would put above. It's funny because I actually have been rewatching the entire Infinity Saga.
Yeah, you have.
And like, there are some movies that like I was kind of down upon that I've like rewatched, and like I kind of grow more appreciative of this. One of them is like Black Panther. I kind of like how it staged that first half is. Like, I really like. I think it's kind of cool.
Killmonger's so good, but I think overall that movie loses itself a bit.
Yeah. That's like a common theme. I think like that's the one thing this movie has, is that like I think it comes together at the end. I don't know. Like, I think it's better than Black Panther. I think there's like a good portion of movies that I would like place it above in my ranking of Marvel movies. I also just really like the idea of like this character who like doesn't feel like he's worth in this world, and like trying to find like a way out of that. And I think
It's just
really,
so
well represented.
underexplored, dude. They didn't explore any idea too good. We go back to the same Yelena flashback. Yelena, this isn't the Yelena. Yelena's the girl from Attack on Titan. We go back to that same flashback. Like, what we could have like explored more of like the trauma she has, aside from showing one scene and then one other scene near the end. We don't get to see much of Bob. We don't get to see much of the Void. Like, it feels like the most basic, like, literally, if you've ever read a shonen or played Kingdom Hearts, you've seen, like, representations of inner darkness and inner turmoil more compelling than this. Like, kind of just, like, going from room to room and then going to a lab and fighting some furniture to a literal heartless version of a character is
so
the
true.
most uninspired exploration of inner trauma and grief that I have like maybe ever seen. Like,
Yeah, but you've played Kingdom Hearts, and not a lot of people have.
but like I've seen like Sukuna or like Ichigo's Inner Darkness or like anything, bro. Like, this is baby's first inner turmoil storyline. And I don't know, like, very simplistic. The trauma world is super sauceless. I don't really love the character dynamics, particularly because 2 or 3 of the characters are really underutilized. Like, I have some... I could say maybe the hottest take that no one's ever going to agree with. I don't know if I should say it. I think the chemistry of Suicide Squad 1, the bad one, is more compelling than the friendship that these people build. That's not That's an awful movie, by the way. There is nothing compelling about the friendship of these characters. Do you, like... There's a huge group hug scene in a very critical sequence where I'm like, okay, one of these characters makes sense. All of you else are not that kind of person. Like, you did not make that relationship with this character. By the way, they knew that character for one night. You want me to think that, like, their bond is that deep? Like,
Especially John Walker's.
Dude, John Walker was so underutilized.
John Walker doesn't even like his own kid. Why would he like Bob?
I know, like, and here's the cool thing, like, there's a version of this movie that really builds up, like, why John Walker would want redemption. Or fucking Ghost. That character gets nothing. To say less about a certain character that they've ruined twice now, and I think is, like, the coolest character on paper of that bunch, but I'm not gonna try to not rant too much.
I have never liked that character.
That character is so sick in video games. That's what matters.
Like, I don't think so. I think I do not like that character.
UMVC 3 Taskmaster is so fucking sick. But anyways, they've underutilized that character twice now, so it's like, and John Walker is a character I love actually. In that, like, I actually was pretty positive about Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show because I really like John Walker, but like they didn't really delve into like why he wants redemption that bad. Like, you get it, but they're not focusing on that. Like, there's Red Guardian and Yelena get like 3 scenes together. Like, it feels what is pretty much the core of the emotional weight of the movie. So it's like, I don't know, like, there's just so much on the table that they didn't do. And again, the action scenes aren't really that fun because, again, they're either fighting a rubble or furniture for a lot of it, or a tube. Yeah. They also fight a giant tube they have to climb in what has to be the most exhausting and possible way to climb that tube.
Yeah, that was like, okay, gang, I know one of you is a super soldier.
Those are the... You're telling me Bob's thighs held throughout that? Fuck off. Yeah. Or Ghost, who just like her... It also, like... I feel like...
Yeah, no, okay, seriously, but like... Yeah, John Walker didn't look at all of them and be like, okay, I can maybe understand how some of you are doing this. Bob, how are you doing this?
Yeah.
And I guess there's an explanation for that, huh? But,
yeah.
Another thing of this is, like, they should not have... It sucks, right? They spoiled the twist in the marketing. And it came off as a very self-conscious move where it's like, this movie is not getting money. We need to spoil the twist to get people to come see it. And just to make sure, Bradley, do you know what I'm talking about at all? So I don't say it out loud. Okay. This movie has 2 titles basically.
Like, everybody kept saying that they spoiled the twist. I had no idea. Like, I don't get marketing, so
I couldn't avoid it, unfortunately. It just came to me like one day. I was like, oh well, fuck. And like, I imagine a lot of people's high emotions that they have with this movie has to a little bit tie into that twist at the end, because it's very out of nowhere. So it's like, oh shit, all of that mattered way more than I thought.
Well, I figured that's what it was. Like, as soon as like they were like, that asteroid's really important, I was like, oh okay, I understand.
I don't know enough.
Maybe I'm a little ruined, but I'm like, I thought that's what they were doing. Like, I didn't even think that was a twist. I was like, I thought that's what they were doing.
There's a twist to a lot of people, including me. Just because it's like those characters do not fit the bill, and I get that's part of it, right? But that's why I wouldn't predict it. But particularly when your strongest member is Ghost, that's not really like a particularly impressive squad. I mean, aside from the obvious strongest member, but you know, there's an asterisk to even that. So it's like, when your second star is the fucking Ghost who gets nothing in the movie, I'm like, okay, this is a bit of a lacking team. When you're relying on the Red Guardian for anything, like...
yeah.
But, I don't know.
I totally get that. But I really just liked it.
I get it. I feel I'm in the wrong, because when Joe, Surkat, and Ryan are all, like, super positive about this movie, I think, Kelly also said she really liked it. I was like, okay, there must be something here.
Yeah.
So it definitely feels like a bullet train where, like, I don't align with my friends this time.
I think it's also, like, this is a story that is very prevalent in Japanese manga media.
Maybe.
It's just something you've... Like, it's just something you've seen over and over again.
Like, brother, like, Celeste exists. Like, fucking... There's even some of it in Expedition 33. Like, there's just so many, like... Yeah. more interesting ways to tackle this theme, and this is the studio with like the biggest budget to spend on these ideas. Like they could make this. Also, like this is the studio that made the multiverse movies of like Doctor Strange, where like there is cool visuals to that. Like I'll say like if I can give this movie one like glowing praise, it is the visuals of the Void looks super good.
Yes.
Very, very...
Very simple, but very effective.
Yes, and that was excellent. What he does afterwards, I think, is less impressive on all accounts. So, I don't know. Bearer of bad news here. But also the people I watched it with were less than enthused about it by the end. We all came in pretty enthusiastic, so it's like, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed that whenever the main thing was happening, at the end, nobody turned around and said like, "Oh fuck, not again."
Living in New York is abysmal.
Yeah, like why do people still live there?
Why are you late to work today? I was in the void.
I've seen things. I confronted my demons.
Okay. We'll have to take that out of your superhero pension.
Yeah. you get 5 superhero days. Or sorry, you get 2 superhero days. That's more like.
And the Hulk is like on a different plan if you run into that guy. It's not our
You get
fault.
1 Hulk day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of just been on a Marvel kick as well.
Yeah.
So I think it was just like I was just in the mood to get it. So like maybe it'll go down later, maybe it won't, but that was just my gut reaction. It's like I really like that movie. And but yeah.
Are you guys gonna watch Fantastic Four?
I am. I'm actually very excited for Fantastic Four. I think it's a really good cast. And
This is a good cast.
The guy playing Galactus is the Green Knight.
Woo! I didn't know that. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
He's so good.
He's the deep voice dude. He was also in The Witch and everything.
He was also in...
Oh, nice.
Wait. Oh, the Green Knight, not Sir Gawain. Got it. Okay.
No, not Sir Gawain. The actual Green Knight.
That movie's so good.
Like movie. One of my favorite moments of like watching movies with Willer was just me and him watching a guy speak tongues. We're like, Willer, I think this is peak. He's like, yes.
It's that meme of a dude like sitting up in his chair and like leaning in. That was the first 5 minutes of the Green Knight. Anyway, if Bradley ever watches this, I'm curious to see what his take is. But like, I was hoping this would get me back into the MCU. I'm pretty sure I'm skipping Fantastic Four. Like, even if it gets good reviews, I don't think I could trust Marvel fan reviews anymore. Even Marcus gave it an 8, which is a little low for like what I was seeing. But even he let me down.
I'm going to be watching Superman, and ironically, it's because of James Gunn's work in Marvel.
The thing is also, the day after I watched it, that Superman trailer dropped, and I was like, I don't have superhero fatigue. Like, the movies just aren't giving me what that trailer is making me feel. I'm putting my whole life's happiness on that Superman movie. And if it lets me down, I am done as a human being.
I trust him. I trust him to make a good movie.
The only good Superman movies are the ones that actually use the original, not original, but use the John Williams theme.
In my opinion, there is no great Superman movie. It's a character I've never loved, and I feel like Bradley's talked about like All-Star Superman like ages ago, and I feel like
no, that was me.
Oh shit.
Preached the word of God about All-Star Superman. That's one of my favorite comics of all time.
It's like I've been waiting to get the blue and red pill on Superman for a while, and I believe this is the one that's gonna make just him arguing with Lois Lane in that trailer was everything I would want from this character. So like more of that, and I would be in good hands.
I just feel like the past 20 years of Superman stories in general have just been like, what if Superman was evil? Or like, I don't... Yeah.
Or apathetic.
It's also like, how different is Superman from us? It's like, the whole point is that Superman is a man. It's like Marcus Vardiara has like a really good point. It's like, he didn't grow up in space. He grew up in fucking Kentucky with his parents. Like, he knows what it's like to be a farmer and live in the
what? To be frank, I don't think Superman's racist enough.
Low key.
He could stand to be a lot more racist.
He's too good.
It just goes to show you how good Pa and Ma Kent are, if anything.
True.
Like, they were able to raise a good human being in the rural areas. Okay, that's too mean.
Also, like, they are the most like Midwest parent looking actors I've ever seen in my life. Like, they do not look like movie stars.
Yeah.
Mom and Pop Kent in that trailer.
I
They're
really like
those
their-
are just regular people. Like,
Man,
that's not a bad thing.
You know, when Crypto nearly dies, in the 90% of that movie, we're all gonna lose it. He's gonna bait it.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, after what he put Rocket through in Guardians 3, this man will go at any lengths to make you feel bad. Like,
True. So true.
okay.
But we gotta keep going.
Let's wrap this up. This is the final topic. Unless we go to the Scenic Route. That is Joe specific, or Joe reliant. Bradley, you read Dungeon Crawler Crawl 3. What's that called again?
I did.
I forgot.
The
Anarchist Cookbook.
Is the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, and I'm glad we get to talk about it now, because I think you did a quickie on it when you read it, or I don't know if you did.
Yeah, I did a bit of a talk, and I was the summary of that talk was basically like, I did not like Book 2. Book 3 got me back in. I thought it was really good.
Here's what's interesting though. Whenever you were doing your talk, you mentioned the setting for this book is trains, and you mentioned not liking it. And my first reaction to hearing you say that was like, that's crazy, because I usually love trains as a setting in media, because one, it's like a confined space where our characters have limited tools to work with, and I feel like trains usually lend themselves like just naturally towards a story where it's like you got to get from one end to the next, dealing with one challenge at a time.
I'd also agree real quick. Despite my hate for Bullet Train, I do like train stories usually. Okay, go on.
And this one, so when I learned the setting for this was trains, I was like, how does Wheeler not like this? And I don't like the setting for this book either. It doesn't mean I don't like book 3. I like book 3.
It's like it's my least favorite. It's like Code Spaghetti. Like I don't care. I don't care that line purple goes into whatever station. Like
Yeah, my problem isn't that it, like, if it was one train, I would have liked it better, but it's like 700 trains. That's my problem.
Yeah, it's a noodle of like train stations that I don't really follow like the logical through line through them. So I mean, maybe it's on me.
That being said, we got the namesake of this book, the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, which, like you said, is like clearly like it was like the missing puzzle piece for Carl. I guess. Like this is going to be relevant for the rest of the story.
The words I say was like, oh, this is the story. Like not just of this book, not just like to me that Anarchist Cookbook is what the story is all about. In multiple ways.
Like he is now connected to the people who came before him and who were in the same situation, and he's like, I have their experiences. They had the same feelings as me in terms of like, I'm not gonna let this place break me. I want to take this place down. And he's like, I have what they've learned, and he's like, I'm going to finish their story for them. Like, I'm going to be the guy.
Going off that theme I mentioned in Expedition 33, it's like the success off of the deaths and bodies that have come before you in like a really cool way. And the way they have to hide it from the system is really cool.
But actually, my favorite thing about this book ended up being Donut, because in book 1, Donut's mostly just funny. And in book 2, Carl starts having those moments where he's like, this isn't just like some facade personality that AI is putting on for me. Like she has her own thoughts. Like this is like a real personality. She's her own person.
He often likens her to a child growing up, and like they're really developing into their own self.
Yeah, and then we get this moment in book 3 where for the first time she does something without telling him. Where, you know, she kills someone in the tavern because, you know, they were trying to kill her, and she gets a skull, and like everyone else who gets skulled, I think she gets a secret note saying, if you kill the rest of your party, you'll get all these stats and rewards, and she just hides it under the tracks. And I feel like what a lot of stories might do whenever a character does something behind the main character's back, usually it might be something the main character disagrees with, and the main character starts wondering, like, are they going to betray us? But what's interesting here is Carl's like, no, I mean, I would have done the exact same thing in her place, because I don't want to worry the party by telling them I got this note telling me to kill them. I'd rather just hide it and get on with it. So he's like, I agree with her decision, but what sticks with him is he's like, she's never not told me anything before, where, like, to him, it's kind of this realization, like, she's not just an accessory to him. Like, she has her own experience she's going through, and I thought that was so cool.
Also, like, her whole thing with, what's the Valkyrie chick's name? Helga?
So, we have Katya, who
Katya.
came...
No, not...
Katya.
Katya's great. The girl Katya works with.
Oh, right. That was Hecla.
Hecla.
And yeah, because that's the thing. Hecla was trying to recruit Donut.
And when you like see what Katya was planning to do in regards to Carl and how she was like using Katya, like I really like that twist as well. I thought it was well built up and it was good tension and like I don't know. I really like the little found family that we have in the dungeon right now.
I know. I like that Katya got to like stick with the crew
and be a character. Like she's very likable now.
Oh yeah.
What do y'all think of Mordecai so far?
He's a cool dude, but he didn't get featured a lot in this book for obvious reasons. He
Yeah.
he attacked someone in a safe room, so he kind of got taken away for 5 days. But as time goes on, we're getting more of like his personal connections. We've gotten drip fed little bits of his story.
Do we know his deal with Odette exactly yet, or I always forget?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. Cool.
So there's that. Y'all are liking Katya so far.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that like Carl figured out. At first he thought it was an exploit, but then he realized like, no, I think this is actually how you're supposed to do her class, where like they load up her backpack with a bunch of metal, and then she can now just be like a 2,000-pound moving platform or something.
What do y'all think about the sponsorship system that's going on?
I think it's really cool that the likes, like the whole meta gaming and social reality aspect has always been pretty cool to me.
And it kind of just fits perfectly for their personalities because Carl's obviously like the very grouchy one, but Donut just plays into it so hard.
High charisma.
I forget. Did y'all get to the Desperado Club in this one?
Yes.
We did.
And we have a moment with Donut in that
Where she
Desperado Club that happens.
the kill, the skull.
The skull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty horrifying.
Yeah, a little bit.
Traumatizing.
A little bit. We have there's the prize carousel that happens, and Chaco, he gets his reward. I'm trying to think of any more moments that kind of happen.
About Donut, real quick. We're just getting secondhand accounts of how that played down. Like, there could still be a little twist to how that played out that would be unsettling, but, you know.
True.
Let's see. We have, like, the destruction of the automatons for scrap and everything. Did y'all do is the treasure room in this one?
I don't know about a treasure room, but I did just remember...
Sounds familiar.
Like, while we're kind of just, like, bullet pointing things that happened, near the end of it, we kind of learned that the entire setup for this floor, and even maybe some of the other floors, is actually, like, political propaganda, where, like, some of the monsters they're making colors to fight are actually, like, caricatures of people that the corporation does not like in the real world. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
There was something that happens. We get a lot of NPC interactions in this book. One of them notably being the fire demon that's like powering the train.
Yeah, with her pregnant babies.
For a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think near the end of it, she never explicitly says it, but Carl, I think, says it in his head where he's like, I think she realized she's not real, and her whole plight of birthing and losing her babies is just an existence that was given to her, which is kind of sad.
Oh, yeah. Everything about this is incredibly fucked. Also, we lost Zev. I really liked Zev.
Oh, dude, I loved her. No, her and Donut were gonna write their own show together.
Oh, it was gonna be.
It was gonna be the Gilmore Girls.
The Gilmore Girls reboot. Like that's when the book is at its best. Is like character interactions like that. Like, honestly, like going through all these moments, I'm like, man, that was a really good book. That was great. I said it before,
this one was
but
very
I
entertaining.
really liked it.
What do you think about how they kind of like set up a premise? Like, I know the Iron Tangle gets set up as like a world, but like there's like a plot developing in the Iron Tangle beyond just its like convolution, you know? They have like this entire thing about these mob holes that keep getting like infected or something. Was that it?
It was like it was something about how like when the trains reach the end of the line, the train and the conductor, or I think whoever is in the conductor's cabin, gets refreshed and sent to the back. But I think everything else, instead of it instantly dying, goes to like essentially the recycle bin. So it's just like full of mobs.
Yeah, but like, what are the mobs they're fighting at the very end?
They fought a burrow boss or whatever. It was just like like a
They
giant.
did fight the burrow boss, but like all the other crawlers, which you get introduced to quite a handful of like side.
Yeah,
characters.
actually, that's the fact that we now have a giant group chat is a really like bonding moment. Dave Bautista or whatever is a good recurring
Dave
character.
Bautista.
And that's what I love about Carl is like a lot of the other people on the leaderboard, like previously Hecla and Lucia Mar, obviously they're playing the game the way it's intended. They are trying to become the strongest person so they can win. Carl really has this concerted effort where he has like 300 people and he's like, we're gonna work together, share information so everybody lives.
Dude, was this the book or was it the one previous where he meets at the Desperado Club, I think, like that dad who hates him? Was that this one?
This one.
Oh yes.
And he gives him the ring and he says, my vengeance is complete. That was raw as fuck. Like, that was actually such a good interaction.
It's like it's like the most OP ring ever, but it requires you to kill other crawlers, and I think it also puts a target on you. And Carl's like, obviously that's bad, but he's like, these stats are fucked up. Like, he's like, you can't not put it on. And Mordecai's like, Carl, you're gonna die if you put it on.
Yeah, and just putting that pressure on his hand was enough for the dad, who presumably dies after, like, at least he seemed very resigned to death at that point, so.
I'll say, and that dad kind of reached this point where, obviously they had their, like, him and his wife had this blood feud against Carl, but even he in the Desperado Club he's like, I would have done the exact same thing in your situation.
Why did he have to do that to his daughter again, if y'all don't mind reminding me? He explains it in this one, why he had to do the thing that kind of started the beef.
What was the character's name again? The dad?
I can't remember his name, but I know the dad and the mom were player killers, and I think the reason they were player killers is because their daughter either wouldn't or couldn't, like, kill stuff. And so I think they were just trying to carry her, and obviously they try to kill Carl and get frozen in the safe room. And then Carl leaves the trap for them, and their daughter stumbles into it.
Critically wounded. Yeah. There was another layer to it that I thought was really interesting, but it's been a while now. But yeah, I mean, we've been chatting about it for a little bit, but obviously it seems like we all enjoyed this one. Will you be reading book 4 eventually, Bradley?
I will. I'm gonna finish book 1 of The Expanse, and then I'll probably jump back to this, and I might just like crisscross between the two series. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yo, I remember. I remember about it. How she dies. So it's like the entire thing is about how like how these stories get complicated among the crawlers and everything. And one of the things was the ring's ability, Mark for Death, allowed the wearer to designate a target, and if that target was killed, the wearer would gain the stat boost. However, the main drawback was that you could not heal until the marked target died. And Yvette, the daughter, was like reluctant to kill crawlers, so to get her leveling up, Maggie and Frank made her use it, and then she marked Carl as a target. And then after that, she was injured by a trap that Carl had set, and so she wouldn't heal, and then they strangled her to death to end her suffering.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah, I like that twist or wrinkle to their dynamic and how that played out. That was good.
Yeah, the ring is gonna be a good bit, y'all. It's gonna be a good bit.
I will also read book 4. I'll try to time it to around when you read it, brother, because it's kind of fun being at the same spot as you. It's fun. And it just fucked up because like it's not just Tyler that likes this book. I've seen like so many like book board video recommendations of like, wait, this shit is peak. I'm like, oh, okay, it really does get that good, huh? Okay, good to know. Apparently, book 5 and onwards are like really good.
Dude, I had to listen to my recap. Book 4 is just as good as
3.
Like Yeah, in
Nice.
terms of like, hey, you know what? You see what's written on the front of the book? What's written on the front of the book?
What's that one called? Like the Butcher's Masquerade?
So, book 3 is called the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook.
Yep.
He gets the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook. Book 4 is The Gate of the Feral Gods.
Okay.
You know
Guess what?
Oh,
Guess
we
what
fought
you're
the
gonna
god.
get?
The Gate of the Feral Gods.
You're gonna get it.
I'm gonna get it. I like the god fight also. That was cool.
Yeah, with Grohl.
Oh man, that was cool. Blurt blurt. We came back to it.
Man, but I was so book 4 I enjoyed a lot. I think book 4 is it's not as complicated in the world as book 3, but it's still kind of like up there and like over designed, I think. In book 5 the world is very simple. It's like it's not overly complicated at all, and it's really fun. I really enjoy book 5. But then I listened to the recap of book 6. Y'all, I'm glad I took such a break. Book 6 is insane.
I'm ready for some of these later floors. I think what I really need is like I like the characters and I like what we do. I think I do like the less complicated floor designs because the only real negatives I have with this story is whenever it's hard for me to picture what's going on. Like in book 1, they fought a Pac-Man boss and I just had a hard time picturing the arena.
I can
Yeah.
kind of picture it because book 1 was very hallway focused.
Yeah.
It's probably still my favorite setting. I am looking forward to floor 6 because they have been hyping
Yes.
that up forever. I forgot why.
wanting
And then
floor
floor
6.
9 has like the donut setup. So like those are the key floors I think we're waiting for. And then no one gets past floor 11. You don't have to concern yourself about with that now, says Mordecai for like the 11th time.
We'll get that.
This is books floor 6. Yes. Floor 6 is great. That's a good time.
Cool.
But so the book I said that gets really insane, which is 6, it's not complicated. It's convoluted. Does that make sense? Like
I think so.
It's not difficult to understand what they're supposed to be doing, but holy fuck, like it's so difficult to do it. It's like
it's complex.
it's like QWOP. You know, you remember QWOP?
Of course.
It's like walk to the end, but you have to press 5 or 6 different buttons to do it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Direct
insane.
inspiration. surely.
I'm glad y'all are looking forward to keep reading it. I love to keep hearing about it. There's not a lot of resources for me to like recap and like follow along.
I appreciated your discussion questions that you did have though. Those were nice.
Yeah.
I tried to prepare some,
I like
but it's difficult, like I said, because the only way for me to actually like prepare discussion questions is if I literally go back and read the book with y'all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, don't do that. I'm sure
You did a good job.
Yeah, that was good.
So keep a mental note of some things that occur, maybe
Yeah,
possibly. Like, at the beginning of the next book, maybe write down some of your favorite achievements that you hear about.
The AI is still the cringiest character of the books, but I'm sure he gets good. The thing with the AI is that like he knows Carl has the Anarchist Cookbook, so what's going on there?
So cool. Where he's like, okay, look, this item.
Oh,
No one knows this item exists.
I forgot that he breaks kayfabe for a second to talk to Carl about the item. That was crazy.
Which is also cool because Carl will consult the book, but he can't make it obvious that he got info from the book. So sometimes, like, he'll read about a recipe ahead of time, and then he'll be like, I'm going to wait at least 4 hours to actually do it so people don't realize I got it from the book.
Has he told the party members yet?
What?
No.
About
I
the
don't even
Anarchist
think he can.
Cookbook. Yeah, he hasn't found a way to do that yet, so that's interesting.
He's not allowed to talk about Fight Club.
I mean, it would literally ruin Fight Club. This is our only out, by the way. This is why I also consider this like the story aside from the thematics. Like, this is literally our only chance out of this situation is gonna be from like what the AI is planning to do with this book. That's my take on it, right? They also set up like the rebellions of the AI sometimes. Anyways, we do need to. We are way over time. Joe,
We had a lot of good shit.
do you want 5 minutes for your scenic route? I will give you.
No.
Okay. Would you like?
He's gonna give them their due
about-
diligence.
Would you like a minute for one of your scenic routes, just as a quick? I did this and I liked it.
Tales of the Jedi, very good. I wish it was longer. It's about 8 episodes, and each episode's about 15 minutes.
It is a TV
But
show.
I think it was. Yeah, it's an animated show.
Okay, never heard of this. Cool.
Have you been watching Andor?
No, Andor's like makes me scared because everyone says it's so good, and like
What
I
if
don't
you
want to
don't
walk
like
down that road.
Andor is Joe's break glass in case of like the darkest thoughts. It's his anti-void.
It's true.
I always forget you watched Andor 1, right?
Nope.
Oh my god, you're sitting on 2 Andors?
Yes.
Joe, we do our Star Wars talk and then we both watch Andor.
See, that's what I was thinking.
That'd be kind of cool.
I'll watch Andor.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it. I don't. I'll watch it.
What Andor?
It's a TV show.
It's like
Oh, what?
It's like pre-rebellion Star Wars.
It's the prequel to Rogue One, Tyler.
Oh,
It's
but
Star
is it
Wars-
as good
it-
as Rogue One?
No, it's like the best Star Wars thing apparently.
Yeah.
It is supposed to
Everyone
kick
says.
ass.
Cool.
Yep.
And Marvel Crisis Protocol is a what? Just real quick for future reference.
That's for
Next
Next
time.
time.
Okay. Nice. All right. You're just not allowed to do anything else. Otherwise, you're going to keep the backlog going like it's us at work. All right. Thanks, everyone. That was great. It was long.
That was a good one.
That was 3 hours, 50 minutes. Fuck. At least
You know what?
At least we started early-ish. That was very important. Otherwise,
we
we're
started
wasn't
just...
as bad as it could have been.
Yeah. All right. I mean, this one got delayed a week. I was really worried about this getting out of hand. And it did just a little bit. But, man, we had some bangers to talk about. All right. Bye, everyone.
Willard.